Hello and welcome to episode 453 of Tenno Clock. I am MDRLOz. This is Xeno.
Yo.
And we are here to mumble our way through another 2 hours odd of mumbling about Warframe. Or being overly jaded and critical. And
no, I don't think we're that.
Loss of all hope. Soul-destroying, endless tedium. No, anyway, we're here to talk about Warframe, so we'll begin as we begin every week with our looking at pointless pictures. Wow.
Loz's wins.
What even is yours?
I feel like it's a box with some weird tentacles going through it. But I'm not entirely sure.
Tentacles, yeah. My brain went to, they were like futuristic rail lines, and the pink blobs were like little cars people were living in.
Could be, but I think it's tentacles.
Tentacles, okay. Well, if you think you might know a better idea of what Xeno's find of the week is for what the hell that is, do go into the description of this video where you will find a link to a Google Doc or Google page thing. On that, you may fill in all your information, and I will push one of these memes. I'm going with that one. Ah, yeah. Memes. So, go onto that link in the description, click it, go on the page. Fill in all your information, especially what platform you're playing on and your in-game alias. Get these things right and you will be in for a chance to win 75 platinum for your character on that platform. If you don't, well, then the same people keep winning. It's just how it is, you know?
Yeah.
Just you know, if you don't enter, then you're not in chance to win 75 platinum. And you might think, 75 platinum, that's not very much. But I tell you, it adds up. Oh, does it?
I don't think anyone thinks that.
Really?
I feel like, I always get the impression everyone's like, no, that's 75 platinum. Do you know what I could do with 75 platinum? I'm like, yeah, you can do a lot.
Yep. I have platinum to burn. I have nothing to burn it on. Maybe I should start buying ribbons. Ribbon speculating, but who knows? Yes, but do go into the description. Do enter that page. Do put your information. And please check you get it right, especially that in-game alias, because, yeah, it's free plat. It's like free real estate. And that's rare. It's really rare.
Duh.
Right, so, again, that is for the memes. But after the memes, we move on to the double D that is the Dojo Dusting. Xeno.
As long as you didn't say DXT. But anyway, so Dojo Dusting, you'll notice I don't have a webcam.
Dojo Xylophone Dusting?
Sure.
Yeah.
The
X-ray
dusting. The reason why I don't have a webcam is it is far too hot in my flat right now.
He's actually melted. He's not actually letting you know. He's returned to his gelatinous state, and it's just very private for him. So he wants to remain invisible
in the bucket.
In his bucket, so he can cool off, increase that heat exchange. It's just so much better for him. And that once the temperature reduces, he can then re-solidify and become the Xeno you all know.
You've seen the Orville, right?
The Orville, not the newest season.
Right, but you know, oh god, what's that? I want to say, oh crap, what was the name of it?
The sludge monster.
Yeah, that.
Oh, I thought you were going to make a reference to the Thing.
What, John Carpenter's the Thing?
John Carpenter's the Thing.
I'm not that cool. Anyway, so yeah, Dojo Dusting, no webcam. Also, we have platinum winners. So for PC, we have the Flame Flash. It certainly feels it right now in my apartment. PlayStation, we have Sir Lockalot 94. Xbox, we have Ace Falcon 77, I believe. And for the Switch, Nick Knight. So we got some platinum winners. Right. I think we spoke briefly about I'm looking to move. So there may be an interruption to 10 o'clock. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, mostly because the state of affairs when it comes to moving in the UK right now is utter horseshit. Yeah, so I've visited a few places. The number of times estate agents don't even reply to you is just through the roof. Right. So yeah, to be continued. Right. I can't think of anything else Dojo Dusting related. So let's move on to the topics.
No.
Oh, the war report. Shit. I knew I forgot something. Ooh.
Not there's much to talk about.
No, I do have something to talk about. Could we have a quick pause?
Yeah.
Right, so Loz has found something.
Yes, I have. It's literally just gone up a couple of hours ago. The Star Chart Dojo Showcase is now live for people to enter. It went live, what is this, Friday for us, this up on the Monday. So yeah, you've got till, I think, August 25th, 22 at 6 p.m. I don't know what time zone that is, though. And yeah, there's trophies to get from putting up your dojo to be a possibility of going the Star Chart Dojo Showcase. There you go. Check it out. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's content.
I want a trophy.
Yeah, the trophies. Actually, I'm going to link you the trophies. I don't have time to put them in the memes to put them on the thing, but at least I can link them to you. But if you want to check out the memes, do check out the forum topic. Yep, posted 2 hours ago. Yep, that's what it says.
Damn.
Yeah, some swanky trophies.
Damn.
Xeno's not going to get them.
No, of course not.
He couldn't design a bucket.
I couldn't what?
Design a bucket.
I couldn't design a bucket. It would just be solid and there'd be no like storage surface whatsoever. It just wouldn't make sense. It would just be a cube.
Yep. So we are still in the post TennoCon post. Oh god, what was the last patch we had? Zariman?
Yeah.
Zariman second patch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lol. We await the next stupidly big patch instead of something nice and small and quick to do.
Oddly enough, we
Live
actually
streams
have
at some point, I assume.
we have a relevant graph to that later on about the updates and things. Oh, Loz finds an emblem.
Yeah, I was going to keep making people enjoy this until I found an emblem. There we go. God,
right. Okay.
So hard.
I don't think there's been any news on Soulframe.
I don't think so.
Nope. So yeah, so you know, it's who knows how long it'll be before there's another dev stream or anything. I reckon whatever the last Friday of
August.
Yeah, is going to be.
Yeah,
so...
I think I'm thinking later. I think it won't until be September. I think they're just taking a nice time off. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be trying positive. Who's going to be positive? I think they're making. Which one's coming first? Is it?
So I thought it was supposed to be Deviri's Paradox, but I think they actually said during TennoCon it was Veilbreaker.
Okay, hopefully they're making some lovely progress with Veilbreaker, and then in September we'll see an amazing stream, and it will just like right all of the wrongs. Give us Nama invasions. That would be good. That would be lovely.
Do you really think they're going to have over 2 months of no dev streams?
Yeah, sounds about right. I think we need to get used to... Seeing as we've got massively long times between patches, I think we're going to have longer times between dev streams. I think when they move over to this new team, it'll be like a dev stream at most every other month.
Really?
Yep. I think they're going to make a whole shift of it. Yep.
You think in 2 years they'll have gone from 2 a month to 1 every 2 months?
Yep.
Jeez, that's a big drop.
That's what I bet it is. I think, and they're going to continue this sort of secretive way of developing these continuously large but massive distance patches. We're never going to have operations. Our operations are dead. We're never going to have an operation again. And we'll have one operation every 2 years. Because they'll occasionally remember what an operation is and then promise more. Yeah, we've got so many ideas. We're going to bring more, and then they'll never do another one for another 2 years. Scarlet Spear is never coming back. What else do you want? We're never going to get more.
Patch 2.0.
Oh, that's not coming. That's not a thing. Your flying horse.
That's your
pet 2.0. Is your flying horse with its wings, and you'll have different color wings, and then the wings will be able to be modular, and you'll have modular arc horses, which will be able to fly in space, and they will replace railjacks.
They'll replace Railjacks.
Yep.
Oof.
Then
okay.
Railjacks will be phased out of their own content for Arc Course gameplay with modular Arc Horse Wings.
Which is just yet more player housing with stables, and you have to keep your...
and then there'll be mini games where you have to put your horse on show, and it'll trot around, and you have to make it canter, and then you have to clean it so it wins the best ribbon award.
Yeah, on a completely different tangent, I never understood those weird competitions in Pokemon.
Yeah, that's literally when I stopped playing, because I was like, do I need to do this? I'm confused. Massive effort but not making progress. What am I doing? It's for the people who are really into it, and I'm just like, no.
Can anyone be that into it? Anyway, right. So, shall we move on to the topics now?
Yeah, go for it.
For realsies this time. So, topic 1 is, ironically, I enjoyed it when I was brought down to normal. And topic 2, the community concept, which is the Vault of Orpheus. Cool. So, topic 1. Ironically, I enjoyed it when I was brought down to normal. I finished the new war, and I have to say I liked it when I didn't have a warframe. I didn't exactly feel totally defenseless, but I liked that I didn't have enemies that were bullet sponges, except for the bosses. And it actually felt challenging. It was a very refreshing take on it was a very refreshing take to play the game almost on the level of the hundreds of mooks we slaughter by the mission. It's how playing as a fully geared and unlocked operator plays like. It's how playing as a fully geared and unlocked operator plays like. But it can't. So I kind of wish we got rewards for doing missions as an operator and not as the warframe, at the least, to mix it up. Or if there were missions that made us use the operator instead of the warframe or necromech. So my first question to you.
Can you explain that again, please?
Well, basically, this person liked being taken down a peg.
I get you.
Right. So my question to you, first of all, is, do you like having a challenge when fighting the enemies in front of you?
Yes, mainly. Not all the time, but definitely mainly. That's why I play the game. I don't want it to be... I mean, like, for instance, now, what am I doing? I am doing the Night Wave, which was do 10 Nightmare missions, and... So I've started at Mercury. Maybe I should have not started Mercury. I should have started at Pluto or something, and then moved outwards, or started out and worked way in. But yeah, and it's not very hard because these mobs all die in one hit, and I'm using an arc gun, which probably massively overkills the enemies anyway. But I'm only using it because it's just easy mode, and I'm not having to think. And this isn't hard in any way, shape, or form. Most of the time I do. Not all the time though. I don't want Warframe to become this massive challenge fest where it should be in different modes. I would like to see a super hard challenge mode where I remember each room being a challenge. But I don't think the game could achieve that anymore. There's just too many variables.
I mean, is that not Steel Path?
Is that not Steel Path? Yeah, Steel Path is a form of... It's definitely more challenging. Yeah, definitely. And I still don't get why they haven't iterated on that and given us Tungsten Path. That would have been good. Or Tungsten Travels, or Tungsten Trials.
How often do you do Steel Path?
Well, not much at the moment, because most of the time I'm just doing it like this. I'm playing while we're doing this recording. So occasionally when we do it in a group, occasionally I might try and do the odd mission by myself. But the tricky thing is, what am I trying to do in Warframe right now? What am I trying to do? I mean, I could try and finish Steel Path, which I haven't finished yet. Well, what do I gain from that? I don't know. I can get some operator cosmetics from Henning and Steely's. I can get little statues of the different planets. There's that. Is it worth mastery? Probably worth mastery.
No, I don't think it is.
I don't think it's worth mastery. Okay.
No, because I think that was like, it's supposed to be entirely optional content. It's the challenge for challenge sake.
Yeah.
Right. But no one goes and does a very difficult job just for the sense of
Yeah, there's got to be some reward. I don't think the operator cosmetics, what are they called? The DAX operator set, which I could go get, which I don't have. There's that to obtain. Oh no, actually, do you know what? I really should, because there is. Oh, I don't even know which one. Is it the mods or the There's arcanes and mods actually. I do need to get more
arcanes. Arcanes are in Steel Path, but the mods are in arbitrations.
Ah, yes. Well, okay. I do need to go get more arcanes. There is that. So yeah, I do have a reason to. But then at the same time, so I've just the last goal I achieved in this game is I finished maxing off the helmet. I think the only thing I haven't stuck in it is Caliban. Yeah, but I don't need to because it's maxed out now, and I'm probably not going to use the ability anytime soon. So that's maxed out. Next thing I want to do is get Deimos rep, so I can get the module for Helmet, so that it gives me an interesting ability to use different warframes each week. That would be something I'm trying to get for. And the other thing is I need to stop being lazy and get myself to Master Rank 30. All these things don't really present me with a challenge, but I need to do them.
Okay, so that just sounds like busy work. It just sounds like a chore.
Yeah.
All right, a chore is a better way of saying it than busy work. You don't feel rewarded for doing it.
No, there is a reward. I don't feel challenged while doing it, or I don't find a way to be able to challenge myself while doing it. Like the Deimos bounties, for instance, everyone just does the same thing, which is I assume you can. I think you can if you do 3 in a row, you get better rewards or something. And but nobody ever does that. Everyone does one and then leaves.
No, it's the isolation vaults.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But everyone just does one, then leaves, then goes back and does one. And I've had the same team multiple times, and people just still keep leaving, even though they're about to rejoin the same thing. There's no way to up the challenge on that. I mean, there's no way. Maybe there should be a system where you can wear dragon keys in it, in normal missions, and then it acknowledges that you're doing this. I get to extract.
Sorry, I don't know if you've just skipped the beat there. What?
Yeah, so I was saying that. So there's no way I need to do those things. This is the logical path, right? So I need to do those things, e.g., isolation vaults, because I want the reward. But it's a long grind. It is rewarding from when I achieve the end goal, but each mission run isn't very rewarding or challenging. Sorry, isn't very challenging. Yeah. But I could maybe if they put in a system where I could make it more difficult by choice, and it reward me for that, a modifier on the amount of points I get or tokens from mother tokens. If I wear 2 dragon keys, I get 50% more mother tokens per
So bounty. You give yourself a handicap.
I handicap myself, I get a reward. Would I be interested in that? Yes. I'm going to do the content, but I mean, I'm just doing these nightmare missions now. Let's try and assume. Let's go Sedna. Where's the nightmare mission on Sedna?
I feel a large part of the problem is the fact that it takes no time at all to max out the content, to finish and complete the content.
I don't know. From the start, do you mean what? From a patch, the whole game?
No, from a patch, from a singular patch, right?
Well, yeah.
So I keep thinking about myself, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And a large part of me feels that everything I'm suggesting is coming from my point of view, and I think realistically breaking it down to basics is probably the best course of action. So my question to you, how would you feel if let's deconstruct the Angels of the Zariman, right? You could max out your Angels of the Zariman rep in fudge, I think it's like a week, like 5 days or something. You can max it out at MR 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, everyone. It might be 2 weeks, but still, it's a relatively short period of time, considering it came out nearly 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you feel if they kept the token system in like it is now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find the tokens out in the missions, but they reduced the amount that you can use, or they increased the amount you need for the daily cap, right? So let's quintuple it, right? So it take 5 times longer to max out the rep. So instead of doing it in a week or two, you end up doing it in 5 to 10 weeks, right?
So you're artificially lengthening that time required to max the content.
I am, but at the same time, right, you could introduce more elements that instead of actually buying for syndicate rep, you buy for the tokens themselves. Because let's face it, people go out into the environment, they get more tokens than the sodding sun. Right? But for the holdfast.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So they get loads and loads of tokens because they can do it at their rate, but they can only hand it in at the rate that is dictated to them.
Yes.
Right? But you can get everything in a week of playing the new content. Do you not feel that that is too short?
No, you can't. You can't max out and get everything in a week.
Are you sure?
You can max yourself out, I think, but you can't get everything as well. You can't get all of the weapons.
I'm pretty sure you can.
I suppose once you're maxed out, no, you require rep.
Because there's several reps that wait, what was I remember not being able to actually transition my rep, and as a result I just had loads of leftover reps, so I just went out, got the recipes and things, and then just went back. Rep. Yeah, I know. But I was at the cap for that level, that rank. So I went and spent it and then maxed it out again.
But if you were at the max for that thing, just level up.
But I was missing a component or something that was preventing me from leveling up.
Yeah, whatever. It's very this story is very anecdotal. You've got no facts, no evidence, just what you sort of
fair. Remember. But it doesn't take long to max out the holdfast.
No.
How long? So if you have a faction, right? Think back to World of Warcraft days. How long would you want to do the activities of that faction to max them out?
Months.
Consider months.
Months, but there'll be other.
Months.
The problem is though the way the WoW is structured is there will be other content at the same time, and rewards will be spread evenly throughout that window, so that you're like, yes, I've made a rank up, I can now access these rewards. The way Warframe does it is you shouldn't touch the rewards until you've maxed the rep at the maximum level.
Right.
You're hindering yourself if you dare touch the rewards at rank 3 or 5, really.
Yeah. No, I can appreciate that. So my question to you is, why not make it so that, you know, instead of spending rep to get the items from the holdfast, you spend the tokens? Because you can have as many tokens as you go out and farm.
Yeah.
But the rep, yeah?
Well, it's all just an artificial method of slowing you down and making you, if you're desperate for these weapons, you can get them now, but you're only going to reduce the amount of time before you can access all the weapons. It's just that the whole system is designed, and I can understand why they did it long term. It's a free-to-play game. They need to drag out people getting access to things. They need to encourage reasons why platinum skips and platinum purchases are valid in the game. But I just feel that at this point they should be beyond that. It's not a cheap, or it's not the early days of free-to-play, and it's not a early day for Warframe.
So what would you do?
If I'm honest, I would put a lot more content into when you level up and things. Now, I don't know if they've got the dev time to do it, because they don't seem the dev time to do anything, and that might be the restriction. But there's nothing when you rank up. There's a bit of chatting. That's it. No new game mode, no new challenge, no new custom mission, no new. Instead of it being a chat, why isn't it each time you level up, one of them narrates a mission for you while you go do it? Because you need to go find something that will help that one person survive not being an angel. If you know what I mean, so they don't fall to becoming an angel. It's a go get an item from their past that allows them to be anchored in this reality more.
So potentially a mini quest,
yeah.
like
well, no, it would just be one mission. Each one would be one mission, and it would be it wouldn't be anything completed. Just bring back the old raid tile set if you need to, or the raid objective.
No, but I mean it's just a one and done.
Yeah, one and done.
Yeah. So yeah, and like it doesn't have to be on the Zariman. You know, it could be anywhere else. Because you're getting an old item.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
The person
that's what I mean.
well,
that's the thing. It could be like you go to the other tile sets and put a sepia tone on. It's like, oh, it's like going into the memories of the past. Ooh, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be. The only thing you'd have to do is get them to record extra voice lines that just trigger, and then put the triggers into the map. And I shouldn't. At this point, they should not. That should not be a hard process. I don't know if the game. I cannot believe they used to do it. They used to do it all the time. So I cannot believe the game engine doesn't support them doing that. But they just don't seem to want to. They just seem to want to. And you chat to this person for 2 minutes, and that's it. Oh, 20 seconds. That's your reward for ranking up. There's no, oh yeah, do you remember the level 3 quest? Oh yeah, and what it was implying, or it allows them to weave in extra plot threads. At least then the rank up would feel like you've achieved some actual connection with the NPCs instead of just what they tell you.
I also feel
that could help. I mean, I'm not saying that's the solution. I'm just saying that's one.
Oh, it's just part of it.
Yeah.
I also feel it's worth adding in here that even though Loz is saying like this is the reward, even though when you rank up you get a freebie out of the merchant table, so to speak, like you could still buy that even if you didn't have that freebie. Yeah. The story time with the whole fast, that's the reward because you only get that once.
It's a story improvement as a reward. Now you might be like, oh, that's not a reward. It's like, yeah, it is. Rather than not having it, rather than oh yeah, listen to the minor plot element you get. And to be honest, I enjoyed them a little bit, but that's only because I'm so starved for any sort of depth to progression in lore and things that like, oh yeah, I accepted that as acceptable. It really wasn't.
You'll have those breadcrumbs.
Scraps from the table.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of difficulty, challenge.
It says that one killed boss.
Right.
But this other person's thing is that I took 4% damage taken, but they got one killed boss. Now, why would that be a thing? Wouldn't it be cool if there are missions where you could kill multiple bosses?
You mean like the one
boss
with
rush?
What's it called? Let Krill and Captain Vor?
Oh yeah, no, but that's at the same time. I meant like multiple boss events in a mission.
Oh yeah. Hell, maybe that could be the challenging content.
That would be nice. Well, angels. I love angels. Angels are so good. It's like they have one difficulty. Can they not? Can I have more angel fights, please? Can I have multiple angel fights? Can I have harder angel fights? Can I have angel fights with more phases? Yeah. Sorry, what was the topic again?
Well, it's just difficulty being brought down
down to normal. That's not what it is at all. So I know exactly what they're talking about here. So it's more also, this is why we can't get anything like this at all. We'll never get anything like this at all. The reason why it was enjoyable to be brought down to normal is because it was clearly a structured environment and set piece
experience. Yeah,
the developers knew what you bring to the table, and then they could rank the enemies and the challenges based on that fixed amount of player power brought to the table. As for this, like the Vow ban, I think you might have seen in one of the last Metal Defense missions, is completely different to me trying to just solo this by myself, or if I brought a Mesa, or if I brought a Necros. It all do different things. It changes the player power and the situation of, well, how do you deal with the mobs? What do you do? along with also mods, you know, all arcanes, all the other crazy power points. Whereas it was fixed. You had this gun. Your gun did this much damage. You eventually got a bow. Your bow did this much damage. That meant that the enemies turned up. If there was a direct charge hit, it would kill them one shot. If not, it would kill them in 2 hits. You know, it's very clear. The developers can then scale the amount of enemies you fight, the amount of waves they come in along that scenario to make it feel challenging and interesting and stable. That's how any single player game is made. But because you're like this, it just when I've turned the damage numbers off for this as well, just because I feel just to try and get some semblance of almost fun from it. But when you've got a situation here, the enemies are like, what, level 23? And I don't even know, does my gun one-shot them? Does it 1,000 shot them in one shot? I don't know. They all spring around. You know, I'm completely overpowered for this content. I've got to do it because I need to do nightmare missions. But you just have no feeling from it. There's either you're completely overpowered or it's an enemy you can't kill in one hit, and then it's a different story. It's like, it's so... Then how do you balance? How many enemies? How many waves of enemies? How many elite enemies in a pack? You know, it's so variable. Have you brought a Wukong with a Kuva Zar that's got ultimate ribbons on, so it can explode the whole room? Or are you using a Mark 1 Bratton, maybe with ribbons, just for fun? Those are different environments and different ways to scale enemies and need balancing off of. And that's why this person found a lot of enjoyment in the scaled back, you have a gun and a pistol and a few abilities. More structured, more clear, more concise.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I feel that the largest contributing factor is just the fact that, you know, the warframes are just uncapped. You know, the player base is completely uncapped. I know what's going to happen if we ended up introducing these harder bits of content that's rewarding.
Yeah,
players are just going to turn around and say, like, no, it's too hard. I want it easier. Right? Fuck. What's it called? The galvanized mods weren't in fucking Warframe, and they got removed from Steel Path and put into arbitrations.
yeah.
Like you know, they weren't even given a chance in Steel Path. Oh no, Steel Path's too hard. You know, they need to be more accessible. If you want us to do Steel Path, you know, you need us to be able to get these mods. And you know, they put them in arbitrations. Everyone fucking got them because everyone has more arbitration monies than the sun, and no one did either bit of content. Well, okay, yes, there are people that are doing Steel Path, but at a fraction because they want the what's the name of the stupid things? We said Arcanes, yeah, from the Acolytes. That's all they want.
Maybe the mods as well.
No, the mods don't come from the Acolytes.
No, the Acolytes.
They come from what, the ones from like decades ago?
Yeah, some of them I think are still good.
Okay. You know, but people want things as easy as possible, and
but I don't want it to be unachievable. But I want it to be a challenge.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem. Is like everything, you know. But I was struggling with Steel Path. I then got the Spore Lacer, and now it's no longer a problem.
The other thing is, there's not really a designated here. I mean, there's not a designated area that you go to, and it's like, well, here's your challenge content for the day, for the week, or whatever. I'll go back to MMOs. I know you go World of Warcraft, for example, but it is just the template MMO these days. It just is.
Yeah.
Right. So I go to WoW, and okay, there's content like I could do my dailies or something, and you know, at the end of an expansion, I will have gear that will just completely tear through it because they're from the start expansion. But I need to do it for some sort of content or something, so I'll do that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, right, but I've got to go do my daily heroic dungeon or something, which is more difficult. Oh, it's a raid today. Let's go do a raid. That's more difficult. Let's go do a heroic raid. Oh, it's heroic. It's our day we try ourselves. The day we challenge ourselves as a guild to do a heroic raid. If we can't get it, we then drop it down to normal. But so each week we can challenge ourselves with this content. But Warframe doesn't even have that kind of structure. You just go to content. And like, yeah, you can go to Steel Path, but once you've finished Steel Path, once you've bought everything from the Steel Essence, once you've got the Arcanes, that's it. There's no reason to do it. Even at the end of most WoW expansions, I'm still doing the regular dungeons, because they'll give some form of currency or they'll give some form of daily. It'll be linked to them, so I'll just go still do them. They encourage you to reuse that content. In fact, in the current WoW expansion, they even encourage you to use previous raid tiers at the end of the expansion, just to make use of more content, which is sensible.
Maybe one thing Warframe could do is reward you for taking crappier gear.
Well, that's why I want to get the Warframe bonuses, and that's why arbitrations. They have tried to make these kind of systems. They've tried arbitrations. They've tried Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. They've tried Steel Path. I think I'm missing. Oh yeah, and sorties. That's another one. But the problem then becomes it's like people want their reward because it's so tricky. I mean, I don't envy the developers' jobs. They have to try and balance something which is near unbalanceable. But I just feel that they're not trying different iterations of things anymore. They just keep everything running. So, sorties, for example, they've been originally it was quite interesting. They were going to have a resetting, what's it call it? A cycling list of rewards that would cycle in new warframes, new weapons, so you'd always have reasons to do the sorties. But then for some reason they just left it for ages, and then eventually went, oh well, here's just the eternal list of sortie rewards. But I thought it was really interesting when it was Nezha and Wukong were in there, and it's like, oh, Nezha's up, oh, we'll try and go for our Nezha bits. Oh, I got the Nezha Neuroptics, yes, there was a chance. And if that's maybe that's how they should have done new warframes from then on, because no, but then they can't sell them. Maybe. Then it'd be constantly a reason that would be evergreened in that you would always want to go do the sortie, but then I don't get why there isn't. Then they could have added a harder sortie. It's like level 100, 200 plus enemies, just for another roll of dice every day. If you wanted to.
That's the problem. It is just down to the fact that people don't want to be rewarded for doing something harder. People just want reward for doing something. They're almost like pity rewards.
Yeah, I mean, look what I'm doing right now. I'm doing Nightwave missions for 1,000 Nightwave points, just for something to do. Really.
Yeah, and you're barely paying attention for it.
I am. Go do 10. Look what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this one thing, which is bottom. Here it is. Complete 10 Nightmare missions of any type for 7,000 points. Woo! And it's just I've even started at the harder ones, and it's like this. Does Steel Path have Nightmare missions?
Maybe.
I should probably go look. Maybe that's what I should go do. If that's the case, yeah, I guess I could do those. But
then you end up just doing it by yourself the entire time.
Yeah, that's then the next problem.
The problem is because players aren't incentivized to do the harder content, they're not going to do the harder content.
Yeah, well, if it's spread throughout the whole solar system, yeah, I don't blame you. But what they need to do is things like the sortie system. You click a button, and because everyone is going to be clicking that same button to do their sortie, you'll find a squad. Mm-hmm. I've never clicked. I don't think. I mean, some people might be able to tell me of times I remember it, but I don't ever remember doing a sortie solo. Always people.
But if I just think they need to. Here's a reward for harder content. Here's a reward for sortie plus. And no, we're not backing down from this. Yes, at some point in time, people are going to turn around and say we need a sortie plus, right? But the point is that they're not backing down from it, and that's a lot of the problem I feel. And that's a problem that I feel, Soulframe is going to suffer if it goes free to play. If it's free to play, if it starts free to play, I really feel that Soulframe is going to suffer the same problems where people don't want to do challenging content; they just want to do content. How they introduce Steel Path. No one fucking plays them. No one does Steel Path. I've done the alerts effectively for Steel Path. I can't remember what they're bloody called at this point.
Oh,
and I more often than not I do it with one other person. I have rarely done it.
Oh, it's a cat. Oh no.
Did you wonder what the shimmer was?
Yeah, for a second I was like, oh, there's a cool shimmer here. Something rare and unexploded I've never seen before. Stab it! Oh no, it's a cat.
Yep. Now you're a monster.
A monster.
Yep. So I think they should slow down the path of progression for things, not tie all the currencies together, and introduce some harder content that is rewarding, and don't back down from leaving the rewards and the harder content.
Yep. But so back to this person's idea though, didn't they come up with ideas of how you should have operator only content?
It's never going to happen.
Well, it could happen. They just have to put missions in that utilizes it. Hell, some of the Master rank ups use it better than the rest of the game does.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, sorry to double back on what. So to play the I've played the they should do this card. Now to play the but the players won't touch it card. Oh, this is too hard. This is harder than doing 5 and out. I want easy. Where's my easy? I want my 5 and out. Where's my 5 and out? Why do I have to do operator stuff? You're just making me start again. That's one of the biggest bugbears I've ever had with the player base. Is the overreaction to doing Arcwing from scratch again.
I know what you mean, but at the same time, it was D's fault for not because I think I don't hate to. No, this is me being mean. I'm sorry, but it is the same thing. It was seeing as at that point we had a Boar's Prize, and they'd redone the new player experience and they'd improved it and things, and it wasn't the just dumped in a mission thing. And just like so they made players start again with no Arcwing mods, and you had to kind of start again, do missions to get the mods, start leveling them up. But then at the same time, why did D decide to, well, we're going to start building Warframe again, and took none of the key things they learned from Boar's Prize and apply it to the start of the Arcwing experience? Cracked mods, missions that were easy, which gave you a few mods to get you started.
Yeah.
It just dumped you into. It did that weird little introduction mission where you like, oh no, it's Arcwing. I'll deploy the Arcwing. Oh no, operator. And then you hide between ships a bit because there's a Fomorian, and then it just dumped you in Arcwing missions. Like there was just like, wait, where's the introduction development missions? Where's the getting you used to it? No, it's like, oh no, it's not ready. We need our cutscene moment of it's not ready, but we'll deploy it. Oh, you've got it now. Oh, that's fine. Well, go and use it then. Go use it for its good benefit. It's like, no, what? There's no mods. This is terrible. What are you doing?
Well, there were mods.
No, there was mods, but you start right. The first few missions you did, you were starting with nothing.
Yeah,
and it was also ridiculous that it was like if you wanted it clever, you had to equip Rhino with a aura that generated health.
Yeah,
or Frost would work as well, and then that way at least your Arcwing would have more health, more shields, and would be generating health from the start. But it's just like they just dumped you. It doesn't even dump you with a set of mods to start with. It's like the game doesn't do that anymore for good reason. I think the game even gives you some mods when you start now. It just. But for Arcwing, they were like, oh yeah, we're giving them this new game mode, better start them with nothing. Like, why? And so so you got that horrible knee-jerk reaction from the community of hating Arcwing from the very start because they were just dumped in it and expected, oh, they'll just play it.
Yeah.
It improved over time, okay, fine, whatever, I'm sure they made it
easier.
They got rid of defense. They added 2 game modes.
Which everyone hates. That no one plays.
No one plays because they were silly. Neither of them were endless. Arcwing needed its own new endless mission to use Arcwing content, and it could have been, what was it, Pursuit? Pursuit, the one that you run through the mission?
No, Rush is the one that you run through the.
Yeah, Rush. An endless version of Rush would have been perfect.
But that's the one everyone hates with a passion because no one knows how to use a break.
Yeah. But again, that's something a tutorial could have taught you.
See this wall, right? Before you hit it, let go of the forward button. You didn't let go of the forward button. Try again. You keep hitting the wall. You gotta not hit the wall. Stop pressing the forward. You hit it again.
And then instead of making that kind of content for an Arcwing tutorial to get into Arcwing, they finally put a bit of innovation in the War Within quest, and then never do that again. There's the whole stealthing onto the asteroid stuff with the Arcwing. With the security grids
and ships. Yes. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah, no, I agree with you. That whole section was just incredible.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Never utilized again.
So they can make these bits of content which require bits to be used, like an operator, an Arcwing, an Necromech, and then they just don't.
Yeah.
Give up on it and just make the next big thing. Forget other thing. Get hyped for next new thing. Man, we're so jaded. I'd love for something to be happy about in Warframe again. I'd love for something to be. I mean, the Zeraman almost was good enough to do that, but it just didn't last.
Yeah.
The solution is not to then drag the Zeraman content out to 1 billion years. It was to put more depth into it. Does the Zeraman even have? It does have those little things you can search for. It just needed more.
Oh, well, the little terminal pad things.
Yeah, to get lore and things. I was wondering if there was something for lore.
Yeah, but I don't. Can you scan those? Like, is there a way to get the lore into your codex? Because I don't want to listen to the lore while I'm out in my mission.
I don't know.
Should we go to the replies?
Quests, like, I don't know, I'm just being aimless. Yeah, let's go to replies. We're being jaded and everything on this poor topic. This poor topic is good, and I'm sorry, I'm just degrading it and derailing it and talking about tangential things instead of the actual thing.
The problem I feel is that the player base just has so much resistance to this sort of stuff. You have to do this as your operator. No, I don't want to do this as my operator. I want to do this as my Warframe. I put all this time and effort in my Warframe.
Game's called Warframe.
Yeah.
Game's called Warframe. I should only be in my Warframe all the time. I should just be out, and then I should be able to just play Valban and then put a Vortex down and then Kuva Brahma while other people with their Wukongs, Kuva Brahma and Kuva Zar, everything into the next century.
Kuva.
Spoken. Right, replies. I like the initial Drifter mission because it really hammered home that we lost. Everything is fucked. Feeling to be playing as a regular nobody with a pistol. I expected after the operator died, we'd be switching to someone significant like Teshin or whoever, but no. It was someone completely unknown with a kind of unimpressive skill set. My first thought loading into that mission was, oh shit, there's actually nobody left, is there? And I enjoyed it thoroughly. I died. Yeah, no, I agree. I was hoping... I thought that was going to be DevOps.
Huh?
DevOps.
I think you might be using the wrong word. DevOps?
Yeah, DevOps. I thought it was going to be the DevOps character. You've forgotten my joke already?
Clearly.
I can't remember the Corpus guy's name, so I just call him the DevOps guy. I did this before.
Oh, shit! Right, yeah, you're talking about...
DevOps.
Oh, fuck, what's his name?
DevOps.
You're talking about the guy at the start of... Yeah, the one that died. Okay, I'm with you now. Huh? Veso.
I thought that was going to be Veso, whatever, and that would have been amazing. That you got to play as Veso, and that's all that was left was him after he did that. And you saw obviously the ship crashed, but he could have been in a guarded armored section, or it just ejected him, or a safety feature
Nobody's
pulled him
ever
out.
truly dead.
Not until you see a body, and not until 6 feet under. But no, instead it was this super important hyperdrifter man. Instead of just like you're just some person with a gun. I thought it was amazing when I thought I'm just some dude with a gun who Ordis has found. Yeah. And I've got health packs. I've got what have you got? You've got health packs, smoke screen, pistol, and is there a third ability?
No, I don't think there was. Like it made out that there's room for one, but
no, it's radar. You've got radar.
Okay. But yeah. I love that pistol. That pistol was amazing.
That pistol is amazing. Yeah, so it was nice to be down to just that, and it's like there was, you're a freedom fighter on the last thing. But this is something I keep asking. I wanted that to be a 6-month-long campaign where you retook the Orokin system, slowly building up this person with weapons and gear and things. Instead, it was like, and you're this hyper important drifter person who has plot out of order. Woo, important, Deviri, woo, setting up stuff, woo.
Anyway, next reply.
To be fair, the counterpoint is the last Archon fight with the Warframe. I don't know about you, but my Saren just melted Snake Lady faster you can say what boss. So I kind of see why they took the Warframe out of the fight in a cinematic moment. Otherwise, there wouldn't be time for a cinematic moment.
Well, this is based off what Loz was saying earlier. They brought everyone down a peg because that made it possible to make the constructed narrative so that you could feel like you were doing something when you were fighting the other two bosses. But yeah, I think that's everyone's experience. The second you get back in your Warframe, what Archon?
Yeah, but it only made them. That's probably the goal. It's like, oh yeah, but you feel like you've got power again. It didn't make me feel that. It felt like the sentients were just a joke. How have they taken over the solar system? This thing died in 2 seconds to my real. Well, I think 2 or 3 shots on my optical. I was like, whoop-de-doo. How is this a threat? This is the magical fusion of Warframe and sentient from the old war that Era has created, and it has crazy super crystals that only these things have for some arbitrary reason. And they're like, so oh, it's dead. Fear its gaze. It is terrifying and scary. Tenno. Oh, it's dead. It shows no weakness. We know known weakness. Oh, it's dead. It's dead. Tenno died. Tenno's dead. What are you doing? Dead. Scary. Better watch out.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Next reply. Yeah. It felt neat being a renegade and needing to sneak into places like with the Veil and getting enemy ships to safety. Get in since the Lasette. Safely get in. And getting enemy ships to safely get in since the Lasette ... Oh, I see what it means. It means how you had to catch the Corpus vessel to be able to go to Uranus.
I could barely remember that.
Yeah, I felt that section could have been done really better. That section could have been improved greatly. Really good. If you didn't have the Lasette, you didn't have any of that, and you started on a Grineer. Hell would have been amazing if you were railjacked and you were on a what the Grineer ship's called? The
Guardian? No, fuck capital ships.
No, the fighters you blow up. Normally in a mission it tells you to blow up fighters and 6.
Oh, the cruise ships?
Cruise ships, yeah. Imagine if you started on a Grineer cruise ship and you had to do missions with just a cruise ship. Instead of your Archwing, you had just a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And you had to do cool missions with it. And you had to fly the thing around. And then you had to invade a Corpus facility using the Grineer cruise ship. I mean, the system's already there. And then you could walk. Then you leave and you have a Corpus cruise ship. Oh, I'm dead. You have a Corpus cruise ship and then you have to do a few missions with that. It's just like, it was all there.
Just check for me. Is your person still alive?
He's got 217. He's bleeding out.
Okay, that's good. Okay, he's bleeding out. You're trying to get to the exit first.
Yep. Just gonna rush this. Oh, I'm not gonna make it. Nope, not gonna make it. Oh, they're out. Fail. Failed. I was tiles away.
Yep.
Now I'm jumping eternally.
Yep.
Very strange. Right, next one. As someone who hated doing everything operator and drifter related, it grows on you. I got into the game right before the rework on operator stuff, and I really felt powerful before it. Now I feel okay. Not Void God, but okay. I don't know if I'll ever like Operate again though, as right when I started getting into using my Operator to beat backsides, they changed it. I felt truly powerful for a few weeks to months, and then I felt nerfed, honestly.
I have a pivot. Should it be that maybe we've said this countless times before? Maybe it's a case of they don't make the content. Oh God. Try and pick my words carefully. They don't make the content challenging, but they make the content engaging. So, for example, everyone's already worked out the best way to do the Void Angels.
Shoot them in the face.
Right. Basically, yeah. But the point is that you could make it so that we've said this time and time again. Let's have Void Angels, right? But are just scattered around the regular star chart. Right? And then you have to you are encouraging the player base to use their operators to kill these enemies. And then it's a case of, okay, so we've done that. Now we'll make harder ones, right? Instead of actually, it feels like sometimes, and I suppose this could be the comparison with, Arcwing, is that they tend to jump the shark with their content, right? Oh, we've got to release it in. So we've got to do. I'm trying to think my words carefully here. We've got Arcwing. You have to do everything from scratch. We're not giving you any support whatsoever. Well, why not have it that the support is, as you said, you have the regular mods, right? The damaged mods. Sorry, yeah, that everyone gets really easily.
Yeah.
Right. Well, why not have it so that you've got like these these cherubs. I'm trying to think of a bloody word here. These Zeraman offshoot things just scattered throughout the star chart, and you could just deal with them as your operator, much like the Vombalists, but just to give people, this is how you get used to wiping these things out. This is how you get used to engaging with them to swap into your operators more, right? Make it part of the game as a whole and not just one small area of the game.
Yeah. It's like how they should have made the... Oh, I'm going to sneeze.
I know, are you? He could sneeze.
He did. Sorry. They said they were going to do this as well. In the first trial, there was the 2 people door pads with the pressure plates on the floor.
Yeah.
And they said they were going to add those in normal missions. They never did.
Yeah.
And I don't get it, why they don't, because it's exactly the same as the normal friendship doors. You just stand on them rather than stand in a place and push a button.
Yeah.
Why can't they be in the game? I just don't get it.
Well, I think by that point in time, they probably clocked out of, hey, let's get Arcwings. Not Arcwings, shit.
What's that?
Let's get, I don't know, something stealthed. Let's get, what's the name of the damn things? I keep saying fucking crap. What were we talking about?
Ooh, Cosmic Spectre. I don't know.
Oh, so instead of actually sorting out the doors and bringing the doors, the pressure pads in the rest of the star chart, people, we're abandoning them in the raids. The raid system, the trial system is bad.
Yeah.
Do you think trials are ever going to come back?
They promised.
70% of the player base really indicated we want trials back. Do you think they're going to bring trials back?
They promised.
Okay.
And if they have to, if that question
they also said
had any validity or any point of existing, they have to bring them back at this point because it was an overwhelming yes, bring them back.
Yeah.
They just the problem was not that I know. Oh no, I know that the way they were in the game is they were buggy and they kept causing problems, and I'm not sure if they can fix that. But the issue with them wasn't that they were bad or anything. It was just the way they were implemented, and that games do this. The belief that they need to be that it fosters community if people put groups together themselves, right? Raid Finder does serve a purpose in WoW. People hate it, but it does serve a purpose, and it lets people see the content. It lets people get acclimatized to the content. No. People have to put the groups together and make it this super scary thing. So that I do feel this thing, and I think it's expanded ever since years and years. A paralyzing effect of not wanting to risk doing content because you don't know what you're doing. Because games increasingly put all this collaborative stuff in, It mainly because of things like esports, which isn't a bad thing. For esports, it's great. Like the game Overwatch as a whole. Overwatch is a terrible game to play. Why? Because in theory, you need to know what you're doing, and you need to rely on everyone else knowing what they're doing within the team and the role they have to play. Because if you have 6 people who aren't very good but know how to play in their role versus 6 very, very good players but all play like headless chickens and don't really know how to play as a team or play their role, but they're good FPS players, I think the team players would probably win. It's just based around that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that leads to people. I mean, like, I don't want to play Overwatch because I'll be like, oh well, I don't know what I've got to do. I'm not going to watch some guides to get into it. I just want to play a game and have some fun.
Yeah, you want to learn at your pace, your way.
Yeah,
and that's I actually that's one thing I find very interesting with a lot of people is, I suppose, intolerance may be the word of, like, people learn in different ways. I'm very much I prefer learning via doing, making mistakes, and then learning from those mistakes. But so many people are of the, oh, no, just watch this video. Just watch this video. You should learn by watching this video. Why? How haven't you learned this by watching this video? You watch this video, you should watch this video. I don't learn like that. I learn by doing.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why I hate what's called tests. Right? Give me a practical assignment. I'm there. Give me something to memorize and try and understand under pressure. I'm fucked.
Yeah, which is why if you were to learn, let's say you did go back into World of Warcraft.
Are you doing the vaults?
There's another person doing the vault. I'm getting time.
You're getting time?
Yeah, time added. It says at the top.
Oh,
Every
okay.
time I kill anything, time is added.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep the alarms off. I think they're doing the vault. I hope they're doing the vault for me. Keeping the time up. So let's say you wanted to get back to World of Warcraft, let's say, and you were like, hell, I want to do raids. I want to beat a mythic boss. Now, you could go and watch videos to understand what it does in the fight, but I assume you'd probably do it by starting with Raid Finder and working your way up.
Pretty much.
Yeah, learning the boss.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this boss does this mechanic. Quick, maybe glance at the little guide in the game and go like, okay, does it? Okay, it still has that mechanic. I'll be aware of it. Oh, but it's got a new mechanic. Okay, well, let's give it a go. See how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell, like, I remember one of the first experiences doing tanking in World of Warcraft for my friends, and I fucked up one of the tanking things because I accidentally had the dragon with its tail pointing in, and I had one person just completely berate the shit out of me. Yes. And you turned around and said, like, no, that's you shouldn't do that. It's like, oh, but every dragon acts like this. It's like, no, only the raid dragons act like this. Like, I think there's one dragon in any instance.
Oh, at that time, I think since then they have gone and made dragons. But yeah, back then it was not all dragons have tail sweeps and yeah.
So anyway,
what am I playing with? Probiscus Cernos. Okay.
Oh,
nice thing.
Anyway, should we move on to the second topic?
Yeah, sure. Let us move on. Let's go.
All right.
Right. Okay.
So topic 2. This was brought to us by Teoarch.
Yes.
The original author of the Stalker trial that we did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they have paraphrased their newer trial design, which is the Vault of Orpheus.
Right.
So apparently we did pronounce it correctly. So they themselves have written this, so they've added some notes here and there, addressing us directly. So I apologize. The last name in the title, for the last name in the title, I wanted to bastardize the name Orpheus to make it seem somewhat alien, but you got the pronunciation correct. The premise of this trial is the Orokin version of Area 51, if the conspiracy nuts were right about it. Crazy experiments, aliens, etc. A collection of weapons to fight the sentients if everything else fails. I wrote an attunement quest for this one too, so to show this area of Mars wasn't quite right, and to impress onto the player the importance of taking on the trial. There was side content that included vault hunting and sandworm slaying, but that is one of the things I wanted to expand upon at another date. That's fair enough. Right, so now on to the trial. Stage 1. Players have to complete 5 two-person spy vaults in a Grineer base outside the base proper to get parts of the code to open the door to the rest of the trial. This stage will have a time limit of 10 minutes. While you go around the base, a UI marker, similar to the one from Orb Valis, will be next to your map, detailing the alert of how alert the base is. Getting spotted by a Grineer that is able to report your activity at a console will raise the alert level by 2 pips. A vault alarm trigger will increase the alert level by 3 pips. Alert level will decrease by 1 over the course of 1 minute. At 5 pips, the mission will fail. Special drones will patrol the base, which can detect invisible warframes and operators. Ooh, just like the regular spy drones, their sight cone will be very limited and visible. When the players have all 5 parts of the code, they will have to go to a special Orokin panel and put the code and input the code. The hints to the correct sequence of the hints to the correct sequence of the pieces of the code will be hinted at in the reward room of the spy vaults. Right, okay.
Wait, are you on stage 2 here?
No, this is stage 1.
Oh, stage 1? Oh, when 5 players. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about stage 1. Right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so first of all, we have these spy vaults which require 2 players to access.
Yes.
Yay, nay?
I like it. I like the
it?
idea of it's a common co-op concept where you've got like 2 players going down a route and one player opens doors for the other player. Very simple but effective, or does things that they can't achieve themselves. They have to hand over to the other player to do something, maybe hand it back. Maybe they have to push a rock that goes into the other player's area so then they can do a thing. I like it. It's very, and you could even have, you know, those 2 people doing that and then if there's more players in the mission, then they have to do other objectives, maybe like hold out and defend a bit while people are working through this. You could also have it, so is it, some sort of right. Complete 5 two-person spy vaults. Yeah, so you could even have it that, I mean, I'm just imagining, just for simplicity's sake, that the spy vault for these ones, these special 2-people spy vaults, are just long tubes, right? But then each tube section has different puzzles in it. And then you could just randomize it again. That's one of the key things here, is the randomness of it. Warframe needs to lean into that. It needs to be so good about its... What's the word I'm missing for?
Procedural generation?
That's the one. And it needs to reuse that more, because that was one of the brilliant things about it.
So I feel that when it comes to this game, first off, I want to add a stipulation. The alert level will decrease by 1 over the course of a minute, right? So 1 per minute, if the enemy aren't engaged.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to lean into the whole Metal Gear Solid side of things. If an enemy is able to report that, you know, the situation is still bad, then, you know, it's the alert status stays up, right? I also want it, so this makes it a bit harder, but I want it for the trial finder mode, that the 5 pips and mission fail thing isn't a thing, but you can't be on. So if you get to 5 pips, you have to reset to 0 before you can open the last, like the go into stage 2. Yeah, so that might be a prerequisite of stage 2 for easy mode, where you can't be in the alerted status.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Think.
You think? I'm fine with this. I really like this. I don't think there's anything particularly difficult. It's very much dependent on the geometry of the entire thing. I think this is great.
Yeah, it's a good start. I love. Well, so far it doesn't seem to have a lore explanation of each step. I don't know if that's coming later or if there is one.
Well, they may have taken it out of this because there was a lot to this. I mean, they went through the whole thing and it was already 4 pages long. Let's have a quick look. They left a note at the very end. I wrote out a couple of warframes and their signature weapons in the reward pool, but this was already 4 pages long as a short version. So I can easily imagine that there's plenty of plot and things, but we're looking at the fundamental gameplay
Oh, I
design.
want the lore. I've got to have the lore. I've got to have my justification for your story. You can't just give me the
Well,
gameplay of it. I'll make my own.
What you call it?
Right, what I'll do is I'll make my
Zero.
own. Right, I'm gonna make my own. Once we go
Okay.
through all the fights, I'll then link it together with my own story.
Okay.
And then if you want, you can find the other one and tell me, or they can write it in the description in another document for us, and we can assess if mine's worse.
Yeah.
Will be.
Right. So, any other points before stage 2?
No.
Nope. Okay, so stage 2. The players will start this stage at the top of a tiered obstacle course. The players can turn around and leave the trial at this point to get a special Sakara title, Accord of Peace. Not sure about that. Players that proceed will have to traverse an obstacle course. This will be similar to the Void obstacle course, except abilities will be disabled. Death orbs, laser fields, security eyes, ice panels, and security turrets will be present in the maze. Hidden behind trap panels, so tread carefully. Note, the layout of the course will be the same each time, but the location of the hazards will change. I'm actually quite fine with that. The course is the same, but the hazards aren't. So this is interesting. The concern I have is what stops someone from just bullet jumping their way through the whole thing, right? I'm just going to trigger all the traps. It's fine. Just keep going faster, faster, faster. It's like just outrunning all the booby traps.
Abilities to be disabled. Death orbs, laser fields, security eyes, these things. Ice panels, security turrets to be permanent present in the maze. In behind trap panels, straight up. No, but you base, in theory, right, okay. The problem, there's so many sad things about Warframe. One of the saddest things about Warframe is there was originally what were they called? The treasure rooms, the old treasure rooms.
Yeah.
Right? Now, those were based around the original parkour system.
Corrupt, yeah.
And so the amount of jumps, Parkour 2.0 just blitzes through them because before it was like you could do a few wall hops, you could go up a wall twice, there was only one jump, and so it was very limited, so it was very hard to get through that. They've never made a proper obstacle course for Parkour 2.0. They put in the player system. Players have made proper obstacle courses for Parkour 2.0, but they've never designed and time trialed their own sort of system of a trial for what it should be in Parkour 2.0. Because those old parkour rooms were challenging.
Yeah, they really were.
Yeah.
The times that you flub it.
Yeah,
It just required one person to, open the treasure room door, but one person had to get there.
Yeah, and it was really hard. The moves for your Warframe played a role. It's like it was hard mode if you tried to do it with Saren, Frost, or Rhino because they moved slower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this could be, you say bullet jump through, but if it's based around the concept of you having a bullet jump, then it could be challenging.
Yeah, I suppose you could actually put things like, you could rely on stuff like the slides or, the sliding along the floor. Or, yeah, you could design it so that, I've got one, right? I would love it if there was a red light, green light situation, right? Oh God. If it's green, you have to go really quickly. If it's red, you have to go slowly. Right? So if it's red, you have to just regular run. You can't go any faster than that.
Yeah.
Right? If you slide, if you bullet jump, if you roll, you'll trigger it.
That could be fun,
right?
Yeah.
And if it's green, you can't do the regular run. You have to bullet jump the thing. Right? I would love something like that. I would love a trap that's what's called red light, green light.
Yeah, in fact, well, you could have more things than just red light, green light. You could have ones where it's like it rotates between can't touch the floor, can't touch the walls. You're not allowed in the air, and so you have to go by the whims of what the board says through that tile. Like, get off the ground, now get down, now crouch and walk across. And if it's all timed, then you have to finish it within a time. It could be tricky because you've got to stick by the rules, but you've got to try and finish the time trial. That could be done. So instead they want to make. I'm being mean. I'm being so mean. Just more shoot Grenier. Shoot that Grenier. Better shoot that Grenier.
No, I thinking about this, talking about what we've. I think that let's get the players to play some Squid Game. There you go.
Yeah. Right, so that's part of stage 2. And there's a lot you can do with that. You can come up with so many different puzzles and little. Where am I? Going on?
In the water.
Why am I in the water?
Fell into water. You went into the water.
This is wrong.
But it's shark wing.
Oh.
You gotta shark that wing.
Why was this? Oh, look! Isn't this cool? There's like underwater content. Wouldn't it be cool? Underwater boss. There's
What's an underwater boss?
Really cool, different content. You can make it like going up and down. It's water rather than space, so you can do different things. There's an up, there's a down. You have like whirlpools and things. You have underwater boss. You have underwater environments. Oh, what's that? What's that? You're not doing any more Shark Wing. Oh no.
Loz is too jaded.
I'm so jaded. Because look at this. I was waiting for this so long, and it's so cool. Unlike space, you can do it's so much better to do like weaving tunnels of coral and things, and you have shockwave weapons. Like, I mean, look at this. It's like affecting an area. And it's not like I can just fly around it. I've got to weave around this rock, and there we go here, and let's go over here, and we're not going to use this cool system and gameplay content we made for no apparent reason. It's never getting expanded again.
I want an open world.
One person wins
right?
on the forums.
I want an open world that is entirely Sharkwing with your railjack.
Oh no, a massive seabed like area. Yeah, you want the Vashir?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. The World of Warcraft reference.
Which World of Warcraft reference is an entire region of World of Warcraft questing and game content where you are underwater and you use a seahorse to get around.
Yeah.
Most players hate it, but they're wrong.
But it's like, let's have that. Let's have the verticality. Let's have these tunnels which require the Arcwing because the railjack's too big, right? And let's, treat the railjack like a submarine.
Treat the railjack like a and it has to go slow. It has to go real slow.
I want to be able to mix it up. Like
no. It needs to go slow. It needs to be different. It needs to have something like that. The railjack will go really slow, but it is a tank in this scenario. right? But it's all about focusing on the distances of your enemies. You know, maybe you can even see the distances, like with or you have a new HUD which lets you know how far you are away from certain enemies. So you know, because obviously they can do more damage to you because, unlike in space, they can use weapons making shockwaves, and it's much easier to affect pressure, which can damage the railjack. So the railjack goes really slowly because it ramps up its shields. But then it's all about like weapon distances and loading torpedoes and things. Oh, it'd be good. It'd be good. And then the Arcwing would be able to go quick. So that's the quick to the slow. So it goes so like, oh my god, that torpedo station is you're trying to escort your railjack through a mission through a tunnel. It's like, oh no, that torpedo station over there, it's going to gain a beam. It's like, and you hear the pinging sound, like bing, bing, as it's gaining a lock, and you jettison someone out in the Arcwing to go and deal with it, while the railjack, piloting the railjack, is slow and steady. You know, because you got the dichotomy of the gameplay. Dichotomy, is that the word? I don't know. You see what I mean? Oh,
yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, we're back to this person. Let's hope stage 3 is railjack underwater, because that'd be amazing. Right, stage 3, let's go.
The experiments. This will be a collection of 3 boss fights from
boss rush. See,
players will have hints of how to defeat each experiment by their description.
Cool.
These bosses have more vague descriptions than the previous trial for the sake of brevity, and let your mind run wild. Feel free to bitball ideas if any comes to your mind. Railjack underwater. Anyway,
so what experiment is railjack underwater? No, I love this. They got little descriptions. That's cool. Right.
So the experiment 154. The listener.
No. It's just 154.
154.
Experiment 154. Not
okay.
15-4 or 150. What did they say? 154? No, it's 154.
Yeah.
154.
Okay. Right. So description: a blind, amorphous technocyte creature without a sense of smell.
Love it.
Capable of flight, incapable of being killed by small arms fire unless doused in a toxin stored within its chamber.
Ooh.
The louder the sound, the faster it will approach the target, and the more deadly it becomes. If trapped, it is in its holding chamber. Makes little noise. So make as little noise as. So if you are trapped in its holding chamber, make as little noise as possible and try to draw to the poison. Strategy: the group has to coax the listener to the position
poison dispenser.
To the poison dispenser by firing loud weapons near to the dispenser while attempting not to make any noise elsewhere. When doused, the listener will be vulnerable to damage. When it hears noise, it will move at a gradually increasing speed and become more resistant to damage. So either focus on alpha damage or practice fire discipline. Okay. When the listener touches a player, they will go down, bleed out. Players will have to go through 3 health bars before the listener is dead. Okay.
The only thing I got with this, first of all, love the concept. Reminds me very much of certain bosses I know this thing, but World of Warcraft, so we play experience from, where things chasing you and you kind of have to reset them and get into places and do stuff. So that's great. And I love it starts out really slow, so it gives you you're not rushed off your feet. And it's like slow. It starts out slow. It's like, there's a thing over there, and as it gets, it starts speeding up as it goes to it. But my only issue is that you got to be careful with these kind of enemies. Is that so you've got people? Obviously, someone's going to stand by the poison dispenser. I'll show you the comic strip for this later, or the skip for it. Celebrate with an AK in the air, if that makes sense. They're going to stand by the poison dispenser, point their gun in the air, and just unload. Yeah,
right.
Because that'll make a lot of noise. So then the mob will move there. So if somebody is just unloading into the ceiling next to the poison dispenser, how is that going to get outcompeted by people gently moving around the room or just running around the room, occasionally shooting? See what I mean?
Right.
So the goal is that someone you want to get to the poison dispenser, and you can do that by and it follows noise, so it goes for noise sources. But so you would just put 2 people standing next to the noise as the poison dispenser, where you have to get the mob, put their guns to the ceiling, and just firing wildly into the air. And then at the same time, if it's like it did say something about one attempting not to make noise elsewhere. Well, how is that going to compare to 2 people running in circles with their guns in the air around where they want the mob to go?
So I think the poison dispenser has to sort of like shift position. Right?
Okay, so what we need to do is put something else in there, such as there's multiple poison dispensers around this arena, right?
Yeah.
One is the active one where we're trying to coax the mob to. At the same time, we have to do something to activate a different poison dispenser. So we have to, let's say, fill caskets with poison, and doing that can be quite noisy. So you have to do it at a careful, steady, slow rate. Or you have to go kill mobs, but you don't kill too many mobs. You've got to give something for the other people to do that are not, because I don't see how the goal is not to just stand next to the group has to coax the poison dispenser by firing loud weapons near the dispenser, right? So 2 people will just stand there go.
So what I would do is, you have sort of like depleted dispensers. And you have to kill enemies near them, like just random mobs.
Or process a machine in the middle of the room that will also dispense it, but it's a very noisy machine to refill dispensers.
Yeah. I also feel that if players are just stood around, like I don't want players to evade the whole thing by just doing nothing. So I would make it that players who are make it that something is going after the least mobile person as well, that just latches on and then starts screaming.
So say this again.
So basically, I don't want it that a player or 5 players could just basically stand there and do absolutely nothing.
Why would they do absolutely nothing?
Because they're not moving,
you're converse. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so not only is the people getting to poison dispensers holding their guns in the air and just pulling down the trigger to make lots of noise, everyone else will be like, well, I'm just going to stand still to make no noise. So you need it. You need people to do something that makes noise, and I don't know.
So what I'm thinking is there's like I don't know, maybe plants just scattered around. Basically, they're turrets, right? Mm-hmm. They're turrets that will fire these slow-moving projectiles at you because of your body heat, right? You can't get rid of your body heat. There's nothing in the game that like makes you lower your temperature, right? But they fire these slow-moving things that when they latch onto you, onto a heat source, they just start screaming as loud as louder than any weapon, and then the boss will just come right for you.
Oh, screamers! I like it. Okay,
right. Let's say the screamer hangs on to you for 10 seconds. Right. So but these things are just kind of constantly being peppered in the air. So it's a bit of a bullet hell where you have to dodge them. Not as bad as like some of the is it Tosho games that exist, or fucking Nier Automata, right? But still, like you get these things that just like constantly, like maybe once every 10 seconds, it's just there's a new one being pumped out.
Yeah,
and they're just constantly going for the hottest, it's like the closest heat source. Right,
I'm not sure. Maybe there'd be right. So I think you should have different ones. There's occasionally one that comes out and it goes for heat sources, but I think others should be just going like coming out of walls and going in a very set routine into other walls. That's the bullet hell dodging, so it's very scripted.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
and then on
let's
top
do that
of
well.
that, there's the occasional, it'll be slow moving again, but one that's hunting down warmth or whatever.
Yeah, let's do that. I think that will completely say, no, you can't stand still. You have to keep moving, or you will die, right? And I like the idea of the gunfire attracting the boss, because you can have someone that's distracting the boss while again, I don't want it so that I'd like it to be kind of an aggro thing. So if you draw too much attention from the boss, it requires hell of a lot more work for other people to draw the aggro off of you. Maybe to the point of someone has to go trigger one of these bug things, right? They have to set off a screamer to get the boss to leave the person alone. And so I like that. And I like the fact that interacting with the dispenser starts making a lot of noise itself. So you cannot let them go to the dispenser. Maybe the boss to fail it, the boss can destroy the dispenser, right? And if the boss destroys the dispenser, that's it. It's game over. You can't get beyond it.
Save that for a harder game mode. Have multiple
game
modes. Yeah.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
Right. Anyway, I think we've done. We've clearly explained this one. This is just
yes,
alternate
more.
bosses of stage 3.
Yeah.
Stage 4 and 5 do seem a bit simpler, but so this is the focus one. But I'm loving it so far. Love the concept. Yeah. It's great on the first one. It's like that's like a whole boss, and it's just one boss of many. So anyway, let's move on to the next experiment.
Right. So the Shaper.
The Shaper.
A weaponized terraformer using the base elements disclosed under Combat Legum 071. Sentience caught in its snare will be unable to adapt to the elemental attacks it dispenses. Efficiency against grouped enemies has yet to be properly realized. Okay, the strategy: there are 4 beams at the edge of the room that will deal damage to each of the basic elemental types. Each player should stand at 1 each. This will be a reverse Simon Says puzzle. Players standing in the opposite element than the one shown use the arrangement of the room as a guide to what's opposite. Players standing in the opposite element than the one shown by the Shaper at the center of the room. Combined elements require 2 players to go to the center of the room together. Complete this 7 times in a row and you will defeat it. Failing to match it will deal 200 damage of the chosen type to everyone in the room, as well as 5 stacks of its elemental effect. So I'm just trying to understand this. So basically, in order to break this thing, I'm trying to work this out. There are 4 beams at the edge of the room that will deal damage to each of the basic elements. So each of the elements. Okay, each player should stand at 1
each. Right. This will be a reverse Simon Says puzzle. Players standing in the opposite elements than the one shown by the Shaper at the center of the room. Combined elements require 2 players to go to the center room together.
So I assume everyone goes to 1. They pick up the element, and then when, like, say if it does frost, then fire goes to the center of the room.
I assume it means, well, I don't get what they mean by go to the center room, because is it in the middle of the room?
Well, a weaponized terraformer using the base elements disclosed under Combat Legum 017, sentience caught in its snare are unable to adapt to the elemental attacks it dispenses. Efficiency against the grouped enemies has yet to be properly realized. I don't understand this one.
So is there a more detailed version, by the way, that you could link me? I'm starting. I think I know what they're trying to get at, but it's hard to say. From this,
not to hand.
Right. Okay. Well, it's a bit hard to say whether it's the room itself or if the mob's in the middle of the room. I've seen this kind of mechanic before, where there's beams going into the boss, and you have to sometimes block the beams, sometimes not block the beams. So when you're in the beam, you get debuffs, and you do it that way. So, and then what they're trying to do as well, I get it at first, but then the combination one doesn't quite work in my opinion, because it's like, so there are 4 beams. It's like, so if the boss displays, as you were saying earlier, the boss says frost, you have to make the fire. And it says go to the middle, but I think just the fire person should stand out the beam, so the beam hits the boss. That's what you want it to do. Because it's very simple. You just step in the beam or out the beam. You don't have to run to the middle. You're either in the beam or you're out the beam. And the beam will always point at the boss in the middle. And the boss is in the middle.
Yeah.
It's fixed around the room. It's fixed in the middle of the room, and you've got the whole rest of the room your own space, yeah?
Yeah.
And I get that's like, I don't get, though, how it says... Oh, that would be a bit of a mind one. It's like, it says gas. What's the opposite of gas? What's gas made of?
No, it's not. It's not gas. It's well. So if it does gas, then then 2 players have to. That would be toxin and heat.
That's to make gas, yeah.
I think so.
Right, but it's the opposite though. So you have to get.
Oh, so electric and frost.
You'd have to get the electric frost. Now that is where it could get tricky. And again, you could have a simple version, an easy mode of this, where it just does the 4 elements and one person has to step out, and then you could have one supposed to win and it does maybe 1 at the end or whatever, or it does it does a limited number of the different combination ones, and sometimes it's tricky, and you have to. So in a few seconds, you have to work out it's doing blast. That is these. The opposite of these 2 people step out of their beams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to do that, and it can be good.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if I understand this one as its description compared to the mechanics, but yeah, it's interesting at least, to say the least.
There's bosses like this in World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, what you'd also do on harder difficulties to really make this really interesting is that while you're standing in a beam, you're getting a stacking debuff that's building up. Yeah. And each debuff is specific to each beam. So in the rough timing of it, everyone gets in their beams. That activates it's going to do as Simon says. It does as Simon says. After that person steps out of the beam goes to the middle, it triggers it. Then everyone has to rotate clockwise by 1.
Yeah, no, I like that as well.
Debuff, and then it becomes even more fiddly. And if you really wanted to make it difficult, you could make it that sometimes it clears the debuffs and you have to go anti-clockwise or something.
Ooh.
Or it inverts the debuffs, inverts all your debuffs, so you have to go the other way around, I guess.
Right. So
that's a good one. I like it. You could do stuff with that.
Oh yeah. So moving on to Experiment 188, the Living Plague. Description: a sentient cloud of pests that will seek victims. I see victims. I see victims. I see victims. They're in disguise. It will infect a victim. It comes in contact with a virus that will remain latent. Okay, I assume that's dormant. The virus will gestate within a victim until a similar cloud of pests.
Latent adjective: a quality state existing but not yet developed or manifest, hidden or concealed, lying dormant or hidden until. I would go dormant though. But yeah, latent. Yeah.
Okay. The virus will gestate within a victim until a similar cloud of pests will burst from the victim, greatly wounding them. Panacea serum has been shown to be a way of inoculating victims of the virus. I assume that's to the virus. Strategy: the room the room for this experiment will be modeled after an Orokin hamlet and littered with the fine bone dust of previous victims. Unfortunately, your party will have will have to become victims to defeat it. Once infected, you will need to find a panacea beacon quickly. Find and mark these beacons to ensure that your infected teammates are able to survive. Continuing to do this will make the living plague shrink as it uses more and more of itself to infect you. Eventually, it will dissipate, signifying your victory. I'm not 100% sure on this one, but I have an idea. What if we have sort of like a maze, right? And
find and mark these beacons to ensure the infected teammates are able to survive. Make the living plague shrink as it uses more and more of itself to infect you all. Eventually display signifying your victory. Okay, you want to put them in a maze, yeah? I like that.
So I'm thinking put them in a maze and hobble them, right? So that they can't jump or anything. And effectively what they need to do is they need to progress through the maze to find these beacons as a method of getting rid of the virus. And they literally have to get from one end of the maze to the other while, just making sure they get to the beacons in time before the virus kills them.
Have you ever played Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles?
No.
It's an interesting little game, and they did make an app game. I never got around to playing it. I really should have. So the way that game works is it's a team game, but one person has to carry the whole world's been covered in a mist of evilness that mutates monsters and things. And teams have to go to certain flowers to collect this magic liquid to make their towns have a protective sphere around them. I think it's how it worked. And then in the missions, it was teams of 4, but one person had to carry a jug, because that's what you have to put the stuff in. But the jug had the effect of repelling the mist. So one person is, and I think there was a reason to alternate. Like you'd have an energy bar that you'd get tired eventually, and you keep alternating who has to carry this little jug.
Yeah.
And that had an effect that then obviously people couldn't fight. People wouldn't want to rush forward because they'd get into the mist, so they had to travel and work around the person carrying the jug. So it's a reason to hobble one player, but they still work as a team.
Okay, I have an idea, right? You have this sort of jug-esque thing, right?
Yeah.
And it consumes your shields.
Ah, yeah.
Right? So you pick up the jug, right? And instantly your shields are gone. And they will not... No, hold on.
Okay.
They're gone, and they will not replenish while you continue to hold the jug. If you drop the jug after 1-2 seconds, whatever effect was remaining just disappears, right?
Yeah.
So if and over time, say you give it 1,000 shields, right? It will decrease over time. So the idea is you have to swap between players to dispense your shields into this jug, right? And you have to take the opportunity to get as far as you can before you have to transfer it over to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So while you're not holding the jug, your shields can replenish. Let's make it easier. You can't artificially replenish your shields. You can't use pizzas. You can't use Hildren. And let's make it harder, or a harder mode is there's a cap to how much this jug can carry. So, you would have to do it more frequently, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot because it's down to team coordination. Who's going to pick it up when? And then someone accidentally drops it. Oh no, I dropped it. And heck, you could actually have it that, there's stuff going on in the maze or the environment or whatever that's trying to get you to drop the jug. Right? Or if someone goes like, "Oh, let me pull out my weapon," and then you drop the jug and like, you idiot. Yeah, you're just enjoying watching that, aren't you?
Yeah, I've just missed. I need Voam residue, and I assume Vass has just killed Voam.
I don't know, but the residue's about to land.
Is it? Oh, is that? Oh,
yeah.
Is that the residue?
I don't know which residue that is. It's the blue one.
It's the blue. I think that's the one I need. Yeah, that's the one I need. Okay, cool.
So you're lucky.
Is that how you get it? Oh, I just thought it was just randomly on the map.
No.
So you're supposed to like be clever and like watch it from above where it lands.
Yeah, get on your Archwing. It's where all the blue.
Yeah, it's the blue
faff is.
But you have to kind of spot it. It's not easy. There we go. Anyway.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Turn around.
Yeah.
There. All that.
All that.
Yeah, that's where it can land. It's in that blue or turquoise area on the floor. There's going to be multiple around the map, I think.
Okay. I'll keep looking then. Yep. Well, that seems pretty cool.
Yep, like that one. So let's move on to experiment 271, the Void Beast, which is apparently optional.
Optional? Like optional?
Undefinable until observed under the proper conditions. Extremely dangerous, but contained under Entrati protocols. Disturb at own risk. This boss is optional, so groups that don't want to fight can consider it a free win. Groups that can activate it by sacrificing void traces into the creature's container. Interacting with the container, which will be a giant floating bowl, will activate the boss. The containing room will be a gauntlet composed of barricades and barriers. Use these to slow the beast down while heading to the end, a Jahu chamber. Here, you'll be able to see the creature. You won't be able to kill it, but you'll be able to restrain it with the Jahu within the Jahu chamber by using Zata snares, spears that can be thrown like spear gun weapons that will appear around the area. So I assume in the gauntlet itself, you're able to find these spears and you're able to pick them up and take them to the final chamber.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that a lot. I kind of hope that there's sort of like a reason that these spears are in that area.
Yeah.
Like, you know, are they being produced there? What happens when they run out? Is someone going along and, you know, putting more in there, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or is there an automatic hopper just producing them?
Or I'd also be 100% down. Say there's only a limited number there, but part of the rewards is you get a blueprint to actually manually manufacture them yourself. So you can actually create them as a gear item to take with you into the trial. Yeah. Or maybe that's going to be the hard mode. You have to make these beforehand. Loz says yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm down for this. I kind of feel that it'd be nice if you could make it vulnerable. Maybe you have to have your operator here. Your operator's used to create weak spots in this creature so that you can use the spears to pierce its skin. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe this creature has pushed out all the spears because it's adapted. So you have to hurt it and make weak spots, and then you could put the spears in again. Yeah?
Yeah? Repeatedly putting them in the same spot, yeah? To do more damage.
Yeah?
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 Yeah? Yeah, there we go. Moving on to the next one.
Cool, yeah.
Experiment 6, the Eternal Arbiter. Grineer captured in continuity loop by several void exposure experiments. He does not eat nor sleep. What he lacks in intelligence, he makes up for in sheer dogged persistence.
Yeah.
To complete any task. Almost bestial territorial focus. Safeguard your Oro if you enter this domain. The Eternal Arbiter will be a series of claustrophobic mining shafts. Taking him on will involve a lot of spatial awareness, since he will be able to grab your operator out of your warframe if he gets too close and be fairly quick on his feet. This will deal a lot of damage to both you and your operator. So both your operator and your warframe, most likely causing you to go down. He will chase one player at random, switching targets if his target gets too far away. He will teleport to a position within 30 meters of the next one. When he switches, he can pass through walls. Be aware of his glow and keep well away from him. The aim of this fight is not to kill the Arbiter, but simply to get through the mine. He can be stopped temporarily, but by taking damage, but you cannot kill him. I'm going to be honest. I would like it if you could defeat this one. You have to defeat it in order to like get, I don't know, a key around its neck or something. But the narrative is it keeps coming back. Yeah. So that's why there's always a new one whenever you go back to the trial. Yeah.
Hang on. They cannot kill.
Yes.
No, so I think again a maze would be good where you or things you make it an optional of killing. You don't have to kill him. But this is the one that should be optional, where you don't have to kill him, but it's a harder challenge to find something within the maze of the mine shafts to get him to kill him or to trap him or weaken him.
Yeah. It does, like, as long as the maze is like just a continuous loop thing, because like to me this screams to me a xenomorph encounter, like, you know, in the first Alien movies where the xenomorph is in the air shafts with the captain of the Nostromo, and you know, like the alien is just running laps around him. If you were to do this and you know, you end up going down a dead end and, you know, the wolf is behind you or whatever. There's like, I keep thinking that this is like a wolf because I swear there are bosses in other games where, like, you know, this feature functions and it's like a wolf type character. Anyway, so the Arbiter basically just, you know, gets behind you and you've encountered a dead end. You're stuffed. What do you do then? Right? So as long as the maze is like nothing but loops.
No, you can shoot him.
And then what?
It slows him down or it stuns him.
How would you? So you just be able to go through it?
No, it's not like, oh my god, it is exactly room sized and it has blocked the pathway. How do I get past? No,
okay.
Come on, we can jump over it. It's only Grenier.
Yeah, but it's one that you can't kill.
Yeah, it's always coming. Coming for you. Gives 3 hugs. 3 hugs.
Just trying to think. It just feels like there are a number of these that the option is not to kill the thing, it's just to get past it.
That was only the last one on this one.
The
Living Prey wouldn't let you pass until you kill it. The Beams of Death, you had to do the Simon Says. And the first one was the Listener. Oh yeah, the Sound Beast. You needed a device to kill it. So there's only 2. And I wasn't really paying that much attention to the Void Beast. Sorry, I was distracted by whatever it was I was doing.
The Void Beast is the one that you can't kill either.
You can't kill, but you spears.
Yeah. Just to keep it there. To keep it in its chamber. This is an optional boss.
Sacrifice then ball that to the boss. You won't be able to kill it. You'll be able to restrain it. Oh yeah. Well, no, I like the idea of that. But the thing is, rather than having optional, you don't even kill it. It's like you put in different stages. You can optional not do it. It's not important. Do it, but to stage 1 where you put it back in its box, and then have a hard mode where you kill it. There you go. 3 modes done.
Okay. Then I'd like an option here where there is an option where you kill it.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Void Beast one.
No, all of them.
Okay. Kill the terraformer.
No, always come out with this. I don't like for years when I said with armor sets, what you want to do for a cosmetic armor set thing is you make an armor set and then you chop bits of it and you have it upgrade.
Yeah.
You only make one armor set, but you just expand on it. And they finally did that years later. It's the same thing for a boss event. You make a boss event and then you just chop bits off of it and you make the easy mode version of it.
Yep.
Either you chop. It could be you chuck sections of the fight, like with the Void Beast, you get it to the restrained bit. And then if you want to activate the final phase where you go for the kill with it, that's a separate phase, but you stop. Or you have it that the different difficulties don't have different things. You just chop bits out. Like with the Shaper, with the laser beams, you don't have the rotating section. But you know when you design the fight, you put that in, but then you take it out and you just have it a basic, it's always static for the easier versions. I don't get it, Drew.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't. But I think the problem
that's
is,
how you make one fight, but you make multiple difficulties and end up with 3 fights you end up with 3 times the work from 1 time the amount of effort.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that when you do like the easy mode, you're resigned to just having one outcome. Like, because you're in a public situation, the last thing you want is loads of people screaming, "No, you're supposed to do it this way. I can't believe you didn't do it this way. Oh, I'm throwing in the towel. I'm leaving."
Mm.
I think if you're doing the trial finder method, you are railed to only, you're railroaded into only doing one outcome.
Mm.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Should we move on to stage 4?
Right. I've just ranked up with Mother.
Yeah.
And it's offered me mods here. Obviously, we've got Soma Prime. Each hit increases critical chance by 1 turn. It resets upon reloading the holstering. That's awesome because Soma Prime is fun. Bow Prime. Stores 3 inch health for every 3 status effects. Plus 90% stat chance. I understand that one. Viral. Decent. Then this one. 75% ammo efficiency while airborne. Now, how does that work?
You lose, so you use 75% less bullets.
I'm gonna look this one up.
So
you move on to the last one.
Right now, there's still more.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, no. Oh no, sorry. You're on 4, are you? You're on 4.
Yeah, just now on 4.
So we're on stage 4, the Vault Keeper.
Yeah. So this fight will be a bullet hell mecha fight. The turrets on the mecha can be damaged, reducing the damage output, but the players will have to spread out and, more importantly, dodge the incoming damage while damaging the boss. After the boss's initial health bar, the boss will gain another based on the player's calculated damage output over a minute. Defeating it for a second time will end the stage. So
I like the concept of these things where it assesses the damage, but at the same time it's like, quick, don't damage it so we get the easy version.
No, I think that's the wrong way around.
What? No, what was it? After the boss's initial health bar, the boss will gain another based on the player's calculated damage output over a minute.
Right.
So it's
you
like
slow it down.
Yeah, defeating it for a second time on the stage. It's really cool. It's like with like racing cars.
Yeah.
You have 20 racing cars that's going to be in the race, and what some people do, it's very rare they use this, but how do you decide who's in pole position? And most of the time, what they do is they do like a qualifying thing where the fastest driver's at the front. But then that's not really fair because they're the best driver. They've already gotten the highest speed, so they're at front. So sometimes people come up with the idea of doing it reverse order. So the fastest driver starts at the back of the race.
Yeah.
But then they could just think,
throws the race.
but I could just throw the qualifying to get like middle of the tier, and then I've got less cars to overtake to win the race. See? It's just it's the same sort of thing with this. It's like, oh, quick, do it slowly, and then it's got less health in the second phase. I see what they're trying to do, which is a clever concept, but it does need to be thought out. And the best way is by putting it into like the factoring which hard mode you're ending it in. So the more damage you do in a minute, you'll either get the super hard mode, where it does have lots of health, but you then get the best rewards, the medium mode, or the very easy one, but you don't get the best rewards.
Right.
Right, what does this do?
What do you mean? That's
this
it.
Mod.
Oh.
Don't get it.
Okay.
Ammo efficiency. What is ammo efficiency?
Well, you use less ammo when you're shooting
Determines
the gun.
the number of shots. Okay. Determines the number of shots to occur before consuming ammo, hence being more ammo efficient. For example, 75 ammo efficiency, and each shot originally costs 1 ammo. Every 4 shots use 1 ammo. Oh, wow, it really is just raw? Okay. It's also the grant no ammo concentration of its... Okay, if it was 100% ammo efficiency. Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Now you know. Right, so... I like this. Yeah, I don't think there's, much else to say, really. I think that you have to incentivize the players. If you want to do the ultra hard version or the super hard version, whatever you want to call it, you have to do it quickly. In the first health bar.
If you do it quickly, then what?
You get the harder versions. Yeah? But you get a different reward table.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't see any issue with that one. Should we move on to the last stage?
I'm trying to think of that as a stage. Yeah. I think it needs more detail in it, especially the thing with the turrets and the... Oh, God, what's this? Oh, what? Oh. Remember when I first bred infested? Yes, it was cute. How we played with them for hours, and then they ate our face, apparently. What is this?
Yeah.
This is Plat. What did you do with those things? Well, I was lonely. It was a deliberate insult to my face. Oh, man. I'm sorry, you don't appreciate my sense of humour. Yeah, do you want to move on to the next one?
Cool. Right, so stage 5, the Great Escape. Get out of Dodge. You have 5 minutes to leave the vault. There is no final experiment that players can interact with that can give them additional loot. The Forge of many things. Wait. There is one final experiment that the players can interact with to give them additional loot. The Forge of many things. It will take 10 seconds to produce a random weapon from a pool. Or make a primer, an item that can make any mod into a primed mod. You won't know until the end of the trial what you've gotten. The players have to rush up to the entrance after getting through the experiment rooms. The players take a monorail back to the surface. Stage end. Onto the rewards. So I kind of like that.
I feel someone's been playing Borderlands.
Yep, that's where I was going with this. It feels like the Secret Vault of General Knox. And that DLC was absolutely incredible for Borderlands.
That was great.
It was stupidly good fun. I feel that you could reward the players here with different things, like potentially the opportunity for ribbon slivers or legendary mods or more resource focused things. Because the great thing about General Knox was you could just pick up weapon after weapon after weapon after weapon. Maybe some kit guns, right? Maybe some, you drop some kit guns or things like that. Stuff that is kind of disposable. Because
yeah, the whole thing should be random kit gun components for these kit gun. Instead of a complete weapon, each 10 seconds lets you get a random part for a weapon. Because you've got 5 minutes to leave the vault. I don't know how long it's going to take from wherever the thing is to get to the exit. Let's say 30 seconds to leave the vault, right? So we've got 4 minutes, 30 seconds of building things, and let's assume we can only stand. You have to stand at one thing for 10 seconds to do it. Let's take away another 30 seconds for movement between producing things, just for the sake of it. So we got 4 minutes, which is what, 24 bits. Roughly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if that was 24 complete weapons, that's a bit much. You'd have to give out loads of junk.
No, but I was thinking it was just going to be like majority junk. Because I remember when we did the vault of General Knox, like there was like 1, maybe 2 weapons in the entire pile that were of any use. Everything else was just junk that you sold.
I remember there being other good guns, but they weren't what we all decided our playstyles were. We all had quite a rigid playstyle by that point, and we didn't really want to swap.
That's fair.
Yeah. So weapon components would be good because then you get loads of variation, and you could trade them and do things with them.
Yeah. I mean, how they could introduce new kit gun based components.
Yeah,
or
no,
maybe
I'm talking about this. Well, let's make this the actual proper rifle kit guns.
Yeah.
I think it so annoys me so much that I was waiting on the kit gun rifles because clearly it should have been Grenier rifles, and then they went, "Oh, have this stock for the pistols to make it into a rifle."
Yeah.
No. I would have. I never liked Oars. I never loved bloody Corpus kit guns because I know they're supposed to be Corpus. They're the Fortune Corpus, whatever. I was waiting for the Grenier rifles, and it was going to be the one thing I was going to be like, "Yep, this I'm going to go full hat." Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Right. Well, that is it for the topic.
You haven't finished.
I was going to, but you interrupted me, so now you can do it.
I then wrote a couple of Warframes and secret weapons in the reward pool. But this is already 4 pages long for short version. Thank you for showing interest in my trials, guys. Look forward to the next 10 o'clock. Yeah. So
there you go.
But yeah, that's.
I was going to.
Okay, you go.
But you jumped the shark. You interrupted me as if I wasn't going to read that.
That's not what jumping the shark means.
You jumped the shark, Loz.
That isn't what jump the shark means.
You got all of these new kit gun equipment.
That's not when kick gun shark.
You. Oh shoot. You were doing all sorts of crazy stuff. You were watching cutscenes. You weren't paying attention at all.
It's not what
you're fighting.
The shark means.
You jumping the shark, Loz. You just jump the shark.
Not what jumping the shark means.
You jump. Anyway. No, I know what it means. Anyway, right. So that is it for the topics. Again, if anyone fancies, suggesting a topic for us to go over, we're totally down for receiving it. We've got the whole Discord shenanigans going on. We have.
Wait, what? We haven't finished talking about this thing.
What thing?
This topic.
Okay? What more do you want to say?
Well, what do you think about it overall?
Overall, it has interesting concepts. I think I preferred the Stalker one more.
Oh yeah.
Because it felt like you were more actively engaging enemies. This one feels there's a lot more running away. I'm also confused by how the Terraformer is able to ensnare sentience and just kill them.
Yeah, that was going to be. I mean, I'd love to see the lore stuff on it. I was going to write my own thing on it, but it'd be a complex thing at this point. But how I didn't feel the link to the sentience in this was my issue.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be like the vault at the end. I suppose maybe it's the weapons at the end, but to be honest, just the sentience are just so pointless and dead at this point. It's just like so sad.
Yeah. I think it's like there's definitely so much room for potential when it comes to harder modes of this. I love the whole, everything that we've come up with. I think we just got so captivated, or I certainly did, by that listener experiment. The one that was like, oh yeah, well, it's based on sound. And, we did try our hardest to make sure that everything was balanced, that there was no way to overly outdo things. So yeah, no, I'm very intrigued by this, but I also think I like it, the fact that it was on Mars as well. But I want to also find out more about this whole sandworm adventure.
Sandworm?
Someone wasn't paying attention.
No, I've got freaking Skullface Boy.
Yeah, it said at the very top.
Oh, the bit about Mars at the top. Yeah, I wrote an achievement for this crossword to show some Mars. Wasn't quite right to impress. The slide was content include vault hunting on sandworm saying, but that is one of the things I wanted to expand upon today. Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that gets me is also that the Eternal Arbiter was a Grineer. Now, is that a modern Grineer? Or is that one of the pristine Grineer? I still want them in game.
No, I mean, considering it's been caught in a continuity loop.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that it could. Maybe it started out as a pristine Grineer, but its body wouldn't be.
But it's called the Eternal Arbiter.
Yeah, I don't think you know how the continuity works. The continuity was the thing that was referenced in The War Within by the Elder Queen. She wants her continuity. She wants her Uvan or Uvan. The continuity is the process in which they transfer body.
So what's a continuity loop?
Well, I assume that they're stuck constantly swapping body. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I always thought the continuity was.
Then why is it a Grineer? What was it originally?
Well, the Queen was
no. Yeah, I know, but this I just think it needed to be, with this thing, it should have different bodies that different come out, but then also like when you say about killing it, you have to force out its original form.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah,
maybe that's the thing. The harder version of this has instantly got me more interested. The harder version of this is you have to keep on killing the Eternal Arbiter until you eventually get to its original body.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, overall, I like it. I love the different bosses. I love the description of these bosses, and like the concepts of them are brilliant. And it's the kind of things that Warframe needs, especially for boss fights. Some of them are really simple. My favourite one is actually the Shaper, because it's a very simple test of just player orientation and things, and it uses the environment. You're more fighting the room than the boss itself, really. I mean, there's obviously you can flesh this out more, but it's more about fighting the mechanics and the room and doing things on time than the boss. And you can have things that there's ways of screwing up, and it's not too bad. So you can make a few mistakes, but then eventually, on the higher difficulties, you make one mistake and everyone dies. It can be done very easy, very quickly. And I don't get why we don't get more things like that. Warframe, they just seem to be bosses. Has always been one of their Achilles' heels. They always, and then they always, well, almost always seem to overthink them, and then they're very simple, really. And there's like, there's not much to that, really, is there?
I don't think they overthink it at all. I think they underplay it massively. I feel that players don't want anything that they can't just tank and spank. Oh, I have to think about this. No, I don't like it. But I just want to shoot it to the stead.
Yeah, and the problem is though, it's the developers of the game. Like I remember you saying the great example, what I think was in Elden Ring, and it's like that's not how we wanted you to use that.
Yeah,
we're just going to take it away from you. Stop you queuing. This is not what we intended. This is our experience. We're going to make this experience. But instead, it's like, oh no, players are slightly perturbed and are moaning. Oh, Damn it!
Oh,
Wait, I can get it from the footage. Yes.
that's cheating.
No,
It's not. It's not. It's not.
But it's like players are slightly perturbed. Quick, undo the changes. Make it easier. Make it simple. Can't put any complexity in. Can't put any depth. Quick. Just move on to new content. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
There is no depth. Only new shiny. Look. We bring you new shiny.
Well, I mean that's the argument with Steel Path, isn't it? Everyone wanted. No, we want challenging content. We want challenging content. Where's the challenging content? No. We don't want hard.
Yeah.
We want challenging content.
I don't want to be actually challenged. I don't want to actually have to scratch brain and activate neurons. I just want just challenge. Give challenge. Yeah. No, not
no hard. Just challenge.
Just challenge. Give challenge.
We had one of those, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I wanted it as a hat.
Yes.
Oh damn, I'd love that as a hat. Right.
Love the concept overall, and we'll move on for now. Yeah, I'd love to see the lore explaining this a bit more though, because I assume there must be more than just these weapons. Because it's like, especially when it's sentience at the start, I was like, ooh, sentience, ooh, interesting, ooh, and then once again, it's never anything sentience.
That's sad. Anyway, right. So moving on to the graphs.
Oh, let's find some buttons. No? What? Buttons? Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that lagged.
We'll see what happens later.
I put graphs.
Anyway, right. So
graphs.
So graph number 1.
Graphs. But Boutons. Let's see how quick they go this time. Look quick now.
Right. So the first graph we asked, which would you prefer? More frequent updates with just mid-mission audio lines, like in the old days, or 2 updates a year with cinematic events? 38% said 2 updates a year with cinematic events. 62% said more frequent with mid-mission audio lines.
Okay, so some people do prefer, or there's a lot of people that prefer the larger cinematic style stuff that comes out, like say twice a year. But there are people
I'm shocked by that.
Well, it is good content. The problem is, right, we should get both. That might sound greedy, but we should.
It's an either or.
It's an either or. We should be getting both. We should get an operation and little mini things at the same time as even just do from one big patch a year. I would prefer one big patch a year, but at the same time they make loads of little stuff that keeps us tiding over for the rest of the year. That feels significant but small. It's fine. But instead, it's an either or on this choice. You're either getting your 2 big updates a year with cinematic events, or you can go back to the old days.
But just to say, I do feel that this choice, it's more in line with what DE are wanting to do.
Yes,
because like if we say we'll do both, they will always lean into the bigger updates.
They are now, yes,
but
yeah.
We have more resources. We can put those resources into the bigger updates, or not. Small updates, good, right?
Operations.
What's an operation? Yeah. Let's move on to the second. Yeah. Let's move on to the second graph. Do you think Warframe's engagement could improve if they allowed for player-generated missions through the Tenno system? 19% said no. 19% said no. They had no opinion, and 62% said yes. I'm very interested in the 19% that said no.
They probably maybe preferred the more structured, organized content, but
fair. Yeah. Then we have, do you like the idea of Tenno operations where creators can come up with events that DE could adopt and give to the player base for a limited time? 29% said no, and I asked them, please comment why. Did they?
Operations where creators come up with events that DE could adopt and give players. No, I don't think so.
We've been betrayed. And 71% said yes.
I don't remember anyone mentioning a base. Oh, yeah, base. You put a player base.
the community.
Oh, let's give it to the player.
Give to the community for a limited time.
Oh, I think. Well, I don't remember. I think it was one actually. Thinking about it. Yes, JJ24. My current issue with Tenno missions is 1. Creators don't have the option to lock gear. 2. Mission modifiers are too shallow. The Tenno missions will be the same as normal game. 3. Most missions probably break outside the current configuration. 4. The current decoration system is extremely frustrating to use. 5. Players won't play them if there are no rewards.
They have to give rewards. Otherwise, the players won't play them. I'm 100% on board with what you're saying. I think the big thing is if they did this, some of those areas would, well, most of those areas I think would improve, especially the decoration placement stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fourth graph is, how do you feel about the faction concept Space Pirates? 5% said negative, 38% said neutral, and 57% said positive.
Space Pirates!
Yep. The next one, do you want to see the Space Pirates concept but with Nama? 14% said no. They are dead to Loz. 24% said don't care, and 62% said yes.
Yeah, for Nama.
Yeah. And then the last joke one is, how would you improve the faction concept Space Pirates? 15% said the bow of their ship are covered in crates of overflowing platinum. So overflowing with platinum. Sorry, it's kind of small on my screen. 25% said every time a pirate arrives, you the hit 2004 hit song "You Are a Pirate" plays, along with another 25%. All the pirates are equipped with comically oversized Zars, right? And 35% voted on. Huh?
Okay, this was last one.
Okay. And then 35% voted for the pirate captain keeps making references to being heard of ghost stories and pineapples
under the sea.
And pineapples under the sea. Sorry, I think it's like it's supposed to be heard of ghost stories and then pineapples under the sea. I don't know why there's an extra comma in there. I don't remember putting one in.
Comically oversized Zars is where it's at.
Zars.
Yeah, that's the and Zors and Zars.
Zors and Zars. But do you remember what you call it? It's like, don't you believe in ghost stories? Because you're in one.
Yeah. Don't you believe in a cyber dystopia? Because you're in one.
Yeah. Right, so that's it for the graphs. Time to move on to the memes.
No.
What do you mean now?
No.
Oh, supporter questions. God damn it, my fucking... Since I'm no longer writing the times down, I can never remember what the fucking order of the show is anymore.
Wow! Zrugal's font says this font was labelled upper lower refurbished, but I think Discord did something to it. It should be called the countdown font for me. And I wish I could get Xeno to go I can't do the countdown thing now. You know countdown?
We'd probably get copyright striked.
Ah, we would. Bloody. Before I read out the supporter questions, we would like to ask everyone to like and subscribe. It's super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Just hit that bell and hit subscribe. Do you think we'll get Nemesis versions of infested weapons? Nemesis versions.
Well, I assume that's like the Wraith and...
Is Nemesis a prefix or suffix that we've had so far?
I don't know. I think there is one, and that's it. I would like it. I would really like it, but I mean that's the indication that we'll ever get operations again.
Nemesis, the complete bundle. It's Nyx with what? It's Nyx. Oh, it's Nyx and Nyx Nemesis skin. Oh, Nemesis. versions of infested weapons. You mean like the prototype version? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? So, Supplementary Nasuth says it's long been the case that all abilities, damage functions, and percentage-based effects in Warframe round down. For example, an effect that would reduce a Warframe shield by 75% might reduce them from 450 to 113, because the percentage should take 337.5 shields, but instead it rounds down to only take 337. But considering the sheer amount of power creep in Warframe, is it perhaps time that the enemy gets more advantage over us, and all effects actually round up when they're considered detrimental to the player?
I don't think you understand how integers work here. It's a simple case of we have a we have a floating point decimal number, and we just chop off the decimal. That's so much less effort than doing rounding.
Yep. Also, whoop-de-doo. I've lost at most 1 point of shields. Woo! Supplementary Nasuth also asks, after the lovely interview with D. Pablo recently. There was an interview with D. Pablo recently?
There was an interview with D. Pablo?
There was an interview with D. Pablo. See, no one told us.
Oh, hold on. Was that the... I think that was the thing that led to the whole Wukong's going to get nerfed.
There's been a lot of doom and gloom, wailing, gnashing of teeth, and speculation about Wukong. Many people don't seem to understand why this frame is used so much, but anyone who has played long enough knows the sheer undeniable power of having a permanent and aggressive Spectre that can use the most powerful weapons in the game infinitely with no detriment for as long as you're holding your melee and healing the Spectre. Thus, the predictions have fallen into two categories for the upcoming change: either giving the clone an energy drain, or taking away the ability for clone to use primary and secondary weapons from our arsenal. On the one hand, energy drain would prevent newer players from abusing this mechanic, but longer running players would have the gear to power through it. On the other hand, with no primary or secondary, the clone would only be able to do melee things, and Iron Staff is a rather poor weapon. What do you think would be the better nerf out of those two? They both suck. I'm sorry, I don't want to. Right,
what were the two? Let's be appreciative.
Either it's an energy drain or it can't use primaries and secondaries.
Well, one of them isn't a nerf, and the other one is a nerf.
They're both nerfs.
No, because the energy drain things. Oh no, an energy pizza clone again.
Yes, but the way energy drain works is it could ramp up over time, so eventually it would just keep getting more and more, and you have to keep resetting it.
So you have a stacking debuff or something?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just think both of them are just silly. It's like the issue is not the Wukong. Like, it's like they've looked at, why don't they look at which weapons are used the most?
They probably have.
No, but they're not caring about it.
No, the predictions are one of these two options. The predictions from the community, not from Pablo, right?
I think it almost feels to me that I'm getting the feeling that what happens, and I mean, I'm so jaded and mean. I'm sorry, just got no hope left in me. That they look at the weapons and they're like, oh yeah, we'll keep this meta running for another 6 months. Oh, because we'll get the Riven prices going, and it's like, right, we need to get Rivens, we need to get more platinum prices up, because at the moment, as long as people are buying platinum, it's like, well, they can probably measure if people are buying platinum, what Rivens are being bought and which one's expensive. And they're like, oh look, all the explosive ones are really high, and it's buying platinum. But then when it gets to the point that the platinum prices drop off for buying Rivens, and it's like, oh no, look, the platinum to Riven pipeline is shrinking. Right. That's when they break the meta down. But in the meantime, we're going to ruin a frame that could be okay just because of stupid meta that needs to be addressed.
Well, I think the easiest solution here is just make him so that he self-stack as the players.
Exactly.
There you go, job done.
As for these two ones then, so what are you going to do? Take away his rifles, give him the energy drain. You want to take away the weapons, yeah?
I'm on take away the weapons because the energy drain isn't a thing.
There you go, supplementary Nasuth, and that's for you. And next, Help the Scarf is taking if you could mix any two Warframes together and somehow keep all 8 powers, which two would you pick?
I've always liked the idea of Grendel and Gauss. Just this like excruciatingly fast Warframe that just goes around eating everything and turns into a meatball.
I would do Ivara and Equinox because then I would have, I don't know, about 20 abilities? I don't know how many I'd have.
A lot.
I'd have a lot.
I'd have a lot.
More than 8. Would you? In fact, would you get even more because you'd have because one of the abilities of Equinox is to have night and day, which gives different abilities. So you'd have night Ivara, so you'd get different Ivara abilities.
I think that's a little too crazy, but I get what you're saying.
There you go. Right, that is it for the supporter questions. Now on to community responses. These are responses taken from the last week's YouTube video. Mm-hmm. And so, Sopper Smosh says, I think Life of Rio would be pretty cool to see on here.
Try.
We can try. I do know that they stopped doing Warframe for a while. I think they came back quite recently because of TennoCon things. We can always try. Tierarch. I would have liked
That's the person that came up with the thing that we did earlier.
Yeah. I would have liked it better if Deimos had come after the Sacrifice or the Chimera Program or even the New War, if I'm perfectly honest. It was a major MacGuffin that Deimos was allowed to exist unaffected by Nama influence, let alone them coming out of the woodwork pre-war. The delays in New War definitely affected their story workflow, and it seems like someone at the office pushed for them to continue moving large pieces forward when they're ready, in spite of the story conflicts or inconsistencies. I hope that there is more respect for the larger narrative now the quest is out there. As for Zariman, I figure that was the last casualty of the New War delays, and both it and Deviri were supposed to come out close together, perhaps in a way where they were connected. You know?
I didn't go to get a glass of water. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I agree.
JJ24, I had a small pipe dream of Clem's excellent adventures. Could make monthly small missions that are only voiced by Clem. Everything else is mission markers and HUD elements. The players could try out any wacky ideas and that the team came up with, and it always ends with Darvo asking Clem, "Hey Clem, what were you up to?"
I don't know about that. I appreciate it. I mean, it's better than the nothing we're getting right now.
Yeah.
But
honestly, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Clem in the game. I loved Clem when he was a community concept, but then it's it just becomes like mainstreaming a meme. It's just nah.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow gamers. Here's our Clem. But at the same time, it's oh yeah, how about we come up with a game mode with a character that just says Clem? So you have to do no new audio lines. You just keep spamming Clem, and then you could just do the functional part of the game and give us game mode. No, we ain't getting that. EGS Cross Insanity. I agree with you so much, Xeno, on you can't fix the story. I have a competent understanding of the story, yet trying to make it sound like there's a sense of things to people who tried to play the quests in the way DE wants you to play them is insane. There needs to be more ways for stories told in operations to be brought back to the main game. Like ones for Alad V if he's going to appear as much as he does, such as Operation Slingstone, Gravidius Dilemma, Suspicious Shipments, Breeding Grounds, Museless Incursions, etc. The story is a foundational issue and needs coherence in order to be saved. The subsequent worry also extends to Viri since it's before New War.
Yeah.
Peter Graves says at Xeno, how many times do I have to keep telling you? How many times do I keep telling you? Some of us do want a challenge. Peter, I'm not being mean. I just want to put up things. Last week's graph, I did say I don't seek out level 200+ enemies because that isn't a challenge.
That's not a challenge.
I frequently do Steel Path because base star chart, everything dies one shot. No need for combos, builds, or real effort. I'm hoping Deviri brings some challenge, but I'm worried DE will nerf it when people complain it's too hard. They've done it in the past. They'll do it again.
Yeah, they will. No, Peter Graver, I know people do want challenge. I want challenge. But the problem is that DE will introduce challenge without reward. And players, including myself, don't want to do. I might be tarring everyone with the same brush. I don't mean to. But I do think, on average, players will not do challenging content if it's not rewarding. It's why would I do this complicated maths if I'm not going to get rewarded for doing it?
Mm-hmm. William Semeno. Game concept basically strikes from Destiny. Imagine breaking into a Grineer prison on Saturn, finding the key codes, and confronting the wolf in a large cell/death arena. All of these strikes bosses will have cosmetic loot, armor sign downers, captura scenes, and ephemera. Also wraith/vandal weapons. We could get the sergeant in a giant razorback fight, something I've always wanted.
Oh my god.
Sergeant riding a razorback. Now, time for my revenge. That'd be good. Right, final one, Grey Archon. Oh, excuse me. This has been frustrating me as well. I will say the one area where this does get explored in a satisfactory way is Railjack crew members you can hire from Ticker. It's about lore and things. Their bios and idle dialogue are full of world-building details. The Perrin sequence guy mentions the Myconians and the Intrati. The Arbiters of Hexus guy wants to visit the Laverian. And the Steel Meridian fighter was saved by Clem. Likes Ostron T and is friends with the Vent Kids. There are mentions of many one-off characters like Amarin and Palladino in those crewmen bios. I'm hopeful that more of these text-based lore dumps, which are largely the domain of Cam Rogers and Adrian Bott, not Steve Sinclair, can add more details and make the lore seem more connected. To review crew members' bios and dialogue, you can see them listed here, and there is on the Oricon archives a link to all of the dialogue.
Fuck, I didn't know this was exist. Yeah, okay.
Me neither. I'm Grey Archon. I'm reading this out verbatim because it's like, oh wow, that's so cool. And I will put this into chat with Xeno so that he can.
I'll endeavour to make sure that this is in the links. I really hope it is by the time everyone gets there. Dear, wow, okay.
There you go. Right, that's it for the
community responses.
Yeah, those things that we do. Let's move on to the memes. So, all these memes are from the r/memeframe subreddit. They are chaps and chapettes and other people who do some amazing stuff. If you're ever bored during the week, where's my tools gone? There it is. If you're bored during the week, just go on there and check it out, and there is some great stuff. So r/memeframe. The links are in the description of the video, along with the secret meme of the week, which is a video that I can't show on here because I can't. We just do static images. So first, with the meme number 1. It's void time. Morbius.
And I love this. This is brilliant.
Yep. Meme number 2, which is the capture mission lasted 5 minutes. Do it solo or with an organized team, please. People who farm Argon crystals in random public void mission capture missions. People who farm corrupted rods in random public missions. Wasting the team's time.
Yep.
Right, moving on to meme number 3. In light
Wait,
of...
why? I'm sorry, I'm confused. Like, this person's saying, like, do capture missions solo or with an organized team, please. And, like, well, why don't you do it solo? If you're complaining about these lovely individuals farming,
no, because there is people out there who want to do the missions with them and do it properly, but these are the minority of people who want to do it in a crazy way, which is
void missions.
So with those just don't. There's no reason they should shut off because there's other people who will join them who will just do it normally. But they're asking the small people, the small exception of people who want to do weird things. Meme number 3. In light of recent news, I don't care if Wukong gets nerfed. I care if Grendel and Hydroid get buffed.
What the fuck? Oh,
Meme number 4. This was the whole game for like 4 years. The Tenno. I want my mommy. Ballas. I want your mommy too.
I mean, that's this is pretty accurate. I mean, this is not wrong.
Meme number 5. Our collections shall ever remain incomplete. When you finally get all there is to see. Or but one.
Fair.
And the final one of the meme of the week is it is transference time. After 10,000 years, I'm free to conquer the solar system. Ordis, the Queen's escaped. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitude.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
It is pretty good.
That is absolutely incredible.
Right, that is it for the memes. Now moving on to the community shoutouts.
Right. So the first community shout out is Elon Musk waifu by average Oro Worm enthusiast.
Yep.
All right.
I don't get
Awesome.
the Elon Musk reference, but yep.
Well, it's Tesla. It's what you call it? Jaya. It's electricity. Never mind. The second community shout out is Lavos by Dasta Creations.
Nice. Oh, I keep trying to play Lavos.
No.
No.
No. The third community shout out is Nick's Prime Tutoring Juniors by Jorial.
Next time I'm tutoring her juniors, they didn't ask for it. Oh.
Yeah. The fourth community shout out is It's So Floofy by Skylar Chase.
Burn it.
The fifth community shout out is Equinox Prime Dayform by Dasta Creations.
Awesome.
And then the sixth community shout out is Trinity by Ibumuk.
That is just crazy and kind of freaky.
And awesome.
I was like really liking it when I just thought it was just like the glowing effect in the dark, and I'm like, oh wait, teeth.
Yep. He loves it now.
No, I'm like teeth.
He absolutely loves it. He thinks it's the best thing ever. Right, and that is it for the community shoutouts. And that is it for this week's episode of 10 o'clock. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for listening. Hopefully next week I'll have reconstituted into a fat balding toy collector. I don't know why I was so what's the term? Negative towards myself. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So
yeah, hopefully the heat will have subsided by next week, and we will have cooler heads in all ways, and then maybe I will not be so jaded. I will melt.
Yes.
I will freeze into a new form of crystal or something. I don't know. We'll all be better next week, and at some point
you'll be cooler.
At some point there'll be Warframe again.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.